But then I learned the counter to, you know, I changed some runes. I went Doran Shield with Jace, so then I got the solo kill on him. I was obsessed, you know. It was like I was obsessed with winning worlds and nothing else will suffice. I would smoke for 2 weeks and I would stop, you know, or like we would buy like 5 grams, I would smoke it and I would stop. You know what I mean?
I didn't think you were Wiz Khalifa.
Hard to say. I don't know. I think general whole Europe, looking at whole Europe, I think they like roster building.
Cool. Okay, welcome to the off-season. Luka Perkovic, a legend of the game, someone who I feel is relatively disrespected in recent years. I've been wanting to have you on because, because of that simple fact. How are you doing? How's I guess, quote-unquote, retirement treating you?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm actually enjoying my life after retirement, you know, so it's all good, yeah.
Yeah, because you had a little bit of an awkward one because I've got a bone to pick with you. You obviously didn't mention the Ruddy sack in your retirement video, and I would have thought that would be a very special time to you. So I was just wondering how come we didn't get a mention in your retirement video.
No comment on that. I didn't find it particularly serious part of my career.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. You're now. I saw yesterday. You're in the business of gaming cafes now. What's gotten you into that?
Well, after retirement, I've been looking a way to invest my money that I've earned over my career, and you know, I've been thinking a lot, or like, you know, looking like, do you go the normal route, you know, like invest into buildings, like building buildings, selling apartment, typical Balkan stuff, or you know, making a cafe or whatever restaurant. Like, it's all like very unfamiliar to me and very risky. And I got this amazing opportunity to meet David, the CEO of Friendly Fire, and they've been in the business for almost a decade, and they survived Corona as well. And you know, they like, I came into the perfect time where they're already like pretty big. So, you know, my buy-in was like not that cheap, but it showed, you know, viability to me and profitability in it, because they already had 22 locations open and just signed like a massive deal to open 120 more over the next 5 years. And then since I joined, we also signed 2 more deals that are not like public yet. So let's just say we're gonna have like at least 200 locations opening in the next 5 years.
That's pretty crazy.
It's you know, it's a niche that's business related, and I always liked business sides of things, and how do people make money, how to make something that people will need. And it's just a perfect collaboration, like a partnership with me, because you know, I'm in gaming my whole life. Since I'm 3 years old, I got put on PC, and gaming is like the biggest industry in the world, and I think esports is just like a very small part of it. And this caters to everyone, you know, to casual gaming.
Were you a user of internet cafes, LAN cafes growing up? Because obviously, from my perspective, it's a nice thing to see. Obviously, you're thinking about ways to invest your money that you've made over your career, but it is also a way to give back, at least from my perspective, because you're part of Europe's golden generation, and I'm sure it's something we'll touch on in this interview. But we don't see many players like you come up anymore, and if they're going to come up, it's going to be in some of you know, playing in LAN cafes or playing at home in places like that. How much is this a move to kind of make it so that local communities are available and stuff like that? Talk to me about that.
I think back then there was like one cafe close to my school that was just like, it wasn't even like, it was just open because I guess somebody had a lot of money and, you know, gave kids away to play video games like together. But it was like kind of like a ghetto one, you know, where you just came in, you didn't pay, you would just play. The older ones will always get playtime, obviously more over you. So if you could grab a PC in time, you could maybe play some Call of Duty 4 was actual back then. It just got released, I think, and you know, the PCs at home were like, I didn't have a good PC to run that as well. So I think it was different back then. If there was a cafe, it was more like more to, you know, play on a good PC and with friends. And I think now it's like a whole different story where I feel like why why our locations are all working and are profitable is because people actually enjoy you know, moving away from, let's say, escaping some problems from home or whatever, and going to a place where they feel safe and they can come with friends. And I think our pieces are very good. They're high end, and the gear is very good. And we're just making better and better gear as well. So it's connected with me playing gaming cafes, but it's also just like a way to build, you know, safe communities for kids and I guess older alike. But let's say most are, you know, from whatever 13 to 25, and way for them to have a safe place where
because I suppose in
they can
Korea,
game.
the whole thing is based on PC bangs and stuff like that. It's like very much a
Yeah.
thing. You go off to school and you play in this. How much are you hoping that like maybe the next Perkz, the next Caps, one of these next like legends of Europe is going to be born in one of your PC cafes?
I mean, that would be crazy. We had like actually, David told me we had like a Fortet kid that played in our Friendly Fire cafe, and he, you know, became to be pretty good and earned a lot of money from it. So it's obviously like not like top 20 player or something, but he's still, if he can earn money from it, great thing for him. I mean, it is definitely a part of it, you know, to small part of it is to find potential talents and, you know, give them the best possible way uh, to grow. We also organize tournaments weekly actually, for, you know, small prize pools, but it's like winning like 200 euros is
But
like
that's that
not
that was
small,
like
you
the
know,
vibe
because when
back.
I played Go for LOL for
Yeah,
like
exactly.
for like
Exactly.
50 euros RP, you know, and for mousepads. I played tournaments like that, you know, 10 years ago. So, you know, 200 euros is a lot of money for kids, right? And it will be even more like we have like a monthly tournament that plays between the locations as well, and that's bigger prize pool. So we're gonna have, the more locations open up, the more percentage of the revenue will go into I mean, same percentage, but more revenue will go into actually organizing tournaments for youngsters to compete in. And the goal, I mean, the rule is obviously that you cannot be, you couldn't have played pro before, you know, in any of the leagues. It's just for the actual younger players and newer players to get the sense of competing and enjoy the time between each other, right? And maybe grow some love for it. And I think it's a great, you know, tier 5 scene or whatever, to see if you like competing and if this is your thing or not, right? And it just gives it also gives like casual gamers, you know, a chance to enjoy themselves in competitive environment. Like in the end, because I played, you know, tournaments even in Croatia back when I was 13, 14, and played like one or two tournaments. But it's the same. The feeling of competition is same if you're competing in that at that time, right? And if when I was competing in LEC finals, right? Like the comparison is the same. Like the first time you're competing somewhere, it's always gonna be very hype for you. So yeah.
It's really nice to hear that you're doing that, because it's like so many people kind of, when they retire, it's like they don't really know what to do with the scene. But it's like you're using your money to like direct. It is that kind of life comes full circle, right? Like you were playing
Yeah.
these Go for LOL tournaments, and I wasn't around during that. But like looking back in history, it's like that's how everyone got their start. You know, you see so many
Yeah, you
people
have to
like
start somewhere. Yeah.
Upset and Caps were playing on like little mini teams back then for Challenger Series. You'd have Go for LOL tournaments, Millennium LAN. There was like the TSM Invitational thing they used to do all the time. Loads of shit like this back in the day doesn't really exist anymore. And like that's where all the players we know now were born from. So I'm hoping that maybe in some ways you're going to contribute to a resurgence in that capacity. But speaking how life comes full circle, I suppose it's best for us to go back to the beginning. We did an interview that I never ended up releasing because I had some like you know, release fatigue around the time. But it's good that we did it, because we sat down for about 2 hours, maybe in 2023, 2024. I believe it was the Heretics period, and we did our
Yes, it
first
was
long.
winter 24. Yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about kind of a retrospective, and and it means that I've kind of got a quite good understanding of what I'd like to talk about already, and then like rehash over some things. So I kind of wanted to talk about you first getting into video games, because from what I remember, you're a big you played a lot of Call of Duty with your brothers and stuff like this. I think it's your brothers who got you into Call of Duty. You also liked Middle Earth Total War, I believe, was another game you really liked growing up.
It was the battle for the Middle Earth, yeah, the
Battle of Middle
strategy.
Earth. That's the
Yeah.
one, right? So, and we had a conversation because it's a theory that I've always had. Because LS always has the blue red MTG theory. I'm of the belief that the way in which you play video games early formulates the way in which you play video games forever. And I remember you told me that you're a lurker. You're a bit of a camper when it came to Call of Duty. Is that true?
Oh, I mean, not really. No, I always like to rush. I always like to rush. Thing. I don't know what I told you. I mean, depends. In Call of Duty, it was more like, if somebody is camping, you're gonna camp as well. If somebody is cheating, you're gonna cheat. I remember, like, I got the it was called rocket aim, but like I got the aim, but I can turn on when somebody else was cheating. I used it a few times in my career. I mean, I was 13, right? But it's still like got so triggered about cheaters that I had to cheat myself. Not a good,
Yeah.
not a good strategy. But no, I liked video games. I specifically like strategy games growing up, like Age of Mythology and Battle for the Middle Earth. I really enjoyed those. So in a way, I think League is like a very big in-depth strategy game, together with a lot of micro. So I guess it was like a perfect thing for me, right?
How did you discover League? Like, because you were obviously playing. I remember it was a thing like growing up. You were telling me like it was really difficult for you to get on the PC. Like your brothers would always hog it, or like even like you talked about the cafe. But like, how did you find League? Were your brothers playing it?
No, my brothers were not playing it. My friends, like, I played Call of Duty with friends, and I was competitive in COD as well. Like I tried, I tried to be on like a clan-based team, and I tried to, but the thing back then was like, if you were like 13 or 14 on the internet, or like I was 12 even, like when you were a kid on the internet, it was like shameful to be a kid on the internet. You had to like really pretend that you're not a kid.
I
So
remember that.
yeah, it's a funny story. I actually literally gaslighted one guy. Like I used photos of somebody else, like an older friend. I used photos of somebody else to like gaslight this other person I was playing Call of Duty with for like months. That that I'm like 19, and that I don't have money for microphone and shit like that. So I was just playing with them. They all thought I was older because I was actually good at the game as well. So they,
Yeah.
they thought I was older. I don't even know how it worked, honestly. I don't know. I
I
remember
remember like
I told him at
remember.
some point, and then he was like, "Oh my god, I cannot believe it!" Like he couldn't believe I gaslighted him this whole time. I actually catfished the guy. He was so mind blown. That
It's
was
nice to
actually
hear. Nice to
hilarious.
hear you were catfishing guys on the Reddit on the internet. We're going to use that as a tagline for Reddit, and people will wonder what the story is. No, I remember telling people I was way older. I remember being like 10 years old and playing like RuneScape and like Maple Story, and like you're right. I remember that feeling of like being ashamed to be a kid because it was like no one would want like a squeaker to join or like a kid.
Yeah.
So I just remember pretending I was like 5 years older than I was like all the time.
Pre-puberty, you
Hell,
cannot
bro.
speak.
You cannot
You
speak, bro.
cannot speak. Yeah.
It's absolute hell. But no, so you got into League because of Call of Duty friends then. And what was it that made you fall in love with it initially? Like,
I mean, at the time I had on PC, I played Call of Duty, and I had a laptop that I played League on at the beginning. It was like legit 30 FPS, and my laptop was overheating, and I played Twisted Treeline with them, and it was fun, And then at some point, I guess naturally, I just started playing more and more League because I guess I liked it more, and we played more League together, and it was like maybe easier to play League, and it was something new, right? So, and then at some point, I started using my PC time to actually play League on better settings, and then I liked it more. And it was also during that time that I got like very soon after that, after I started playing League, I got diagnosed with a tumor in my leg.
you
I
had a
don't even know how that.
tibia tumor, right?
Yeah, yeah. I don't. It was like a good good tumor. It wasn't like anything deadly, right?
Benign.
But still, it was, yeah, benign. Yeah, it was still a tumor. So I had to operate it, and then I was at home for like 2 months or like 3 months, and then obviously what I couldn't do anything then play League, and that's when I started playing a lot of League, and then I kind of just jumped off very rapidly from the other, I guess, skill level of my friends, and started playing more and more alone and playing ranked.
Because that was quite an abrupt change for you, wasn't it? Because you were a very like athletic kid growing up. I remember when I first spoke to you, you did a lot of like wrestling and stuff like that, and you were very involved in like activities and stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, I like the social. I like this. I was very social always and extroverted, right? And I mean, I wouldn't say I was a very athletic kid. Like, I'm gonna have to be real with myself. I think I'm happy I found gaming. I wasn't bad per se at sports, but I was never very good at sports.
You're a wrestler though,
But
right? I'm not misremembering
yeah,
that.
I wasn't good at wrestling though. But I like the fact of, like, let's say, a sense of brotherhood you had in a
Yeah.
club, like a wrestling club, and let's say, back then you would be like, let's say, cool kid if you had like older friends, and those people were like, let's say, 1 or 2 years older from the same school, and then you would have like, I know it's like a cope, but some sort of protection, or like, oh, this guy knows this guy, right? So it was more of like, it gave you like some sort of, I wouldn't say status, but it's like, you're part of something that's like bigger than you, right? So I think I always liked that sense of being part of something that's bigger than just myself.
That's cool. What kind of in terms of, because the values I would associate with you throughout your career is that you've always kind of like, not always, but you definitely like became that kind of leadership role. And I know from speaking to lots of people, it's like you're that kind of, you're that Coach Carter beyond the dressing room. You're going to be keeping people after practice for VOD reviews, keeping people accountable and stuff like that. And that strikes me as like values that could have potentially been forged from like group sport or group activity when you're younger. Would that be the case? Was that kind of stuff that you learned from that environment? Because I know from doing judo personally, like that stuff like that was like really imprinted on you, and a lot of that is like you're talking about being around older people as well.
It's hard. It's really hard for me to say where that came from. It's maybe just innate because I was never really like a leader in friend groups, or you know, I think I just had to grow into one. I don't think that came from that because I was always, the youngest, and I was pretty short, and it wasn't like natural for me to be like, uh, if you're talking about, like physical capability, someone
Mm.
who is gonna be, let's say, I don't know how do you say, it looks scary or whatever, right? So
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it came from that. I think it's just something I had to grow into, and I mean that's gonna come, I guess, to later. But that was like that mostly became after the 2017 year, like when we had a full rebuild, and I was really excited for it because I wanted to grow a lot, and I think that was like the biggest growing, or one of the biggest growing points in my career, in my career.
absolutely. And I just kind of wanted to, before we move on, just from that early period of your life, like what kind of a kid was Luka Perkovic? Like, do you have any funny story from school? Like, who was, if I was to meet Perks at that age, like what kind of a person were you?
Uh, let's say I was a class clown, I would say.
Yeah,
I did have like all the top grades, and school was very easy for me. So I had a lot of time to, have fun in class, and, do nothing for my schoolwork at home, and be very social. And, I always liked having attention. Wife tells me that as well right now. So it is true because I'm the youngest kid. So automatically I got the most attention, and my parents had the most time for me, for sure. So it was like, I like being in attention of girls, or older friends from wrestling, because it's always like the attention people give you reflect on, I guess, your whatever your likeliness, the way people like you, right, or
yeah.
perceive you in a group. So
Did
I was
did you
definitely
get in trouble?
very.
Did you get in trouble much trying to show off to them, or
No, I wouldn't. I would stay out of. I mean, I would be. Let's say there was like. I mean, I had like a fight or two in my school.
you win?
I lost one. I won once. I guess the same
That's
guy.
50% win
I low
ratio
key.
there. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I low key beat him up during PE class. Pretty high key actually. But I mean, I would, let's say there was like, usually there would be a fight. I would be the guy like filming it. I mean, it's not like I was doing that. I mean, I was at some point, but like I would be someone, you know,
You'd
like
be the
maybe like
instigator
sparking
or
it.
like,
Yeah, the
yeah.
instigator, maybe like sparking it up a bit, maybe being like a bit annoying, but mostly staying out of trouble, you know, on the sidelines. I would say that would be the accurate description, yeah.
And what was it like being the youngest brother growing up? Because I'm the oldest of three, and my smallest brother Lawrence, like he got tortured growing up. He's 7 years younger than my middle brother, and I'm 10 years older than him. So he was just tiny when we were all teenagers. And I remember we used to like lock him in cupboards, and like we had like a chest of drawers, and we used to like make him get in it and like sit on top of it and stuff like that. And that's just how brothers are. Like if you're the youngest, sometimes your brothers can be really nice to you, but sometimes you just end up getting a little bit tortured.
Yeah.
What was it like with your older brothers? Like, were they taking the piss out of you and pulling pranks on you, or?
I mean, to be honest, I'm so much younger than them that it was like
Okay.
not the same thing. Like my oldest brother is 18 years older than me,
Oh, damn.
and sister 16 and then 13, and then the closest one is like 7 years apart. So I think with him, I hanged out a lot with him. Like he was really really nice to me actually. But you know, by the time I got like 7 or 8, um I started like being really annoying to him, and I was teasing him a lot. And I remember he was I remember even now, you know, he was like sometimes chasing me, like trying to like hit me, and I would just run away from him. But he was mostly very very good to me. And even like I remember his friend, like one of his friends, the neighbors, was like driving me on a motorcycle, on like a scooter. That was like peak experience for me, you know. He would like drive me around the village for like 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. Felt like 1 hour to me.
Everything
I
does
think
back then.
yeah, yeah. In general, I wouldn't say, if I was cocky, definitely a lot, and I will get maybe like a slap here and there, but that will be more like, you know, to not be cocky. But I wouldn't say I was getting, because again, the age difference is very big. That's more like, let's say if you're older than your brother for
Yeah,
3 or 4 years, or maybe 5, but like that difference was way too big, you know, to have that kind of, I guess, relationship.
for sure. But then obviously you go on from adolescence, you discover League, and you kind of back then, like you're saying, the way that it worked, presumably at the start, is you have like go for LOL tournaments, you probably play a few Czech tournaments. How did you arrive at like more of a competitive environment? Because you were at G2 like pretty early on, right? I think even when it was called Gamers 2 when you arrived. What was that early period of time where you played competitive League of Legends like?
Well, and shortly, let's say I reached Diamond 1 in season 3, and then I was, you know, active in the Balkan scene, and I was, of course, as I was arguing and being cocky towards people on the Facebook group. That was like a Facebook Balkan group, and you know, posting screenshots or whatnot, and being cocky towards others. And I mean, at that point, I was already starting to take a lot of initiative of my own. I would, let's say, be making challenger teams with other high-low players, and you know, picking players that were available on the ladder that didn't have a team that I thought were the best.
Who were some of the players that you like met back then? Because Upset's got the hilarious story of like he used to have matching names with Caps in like season 4. Who were like
Yeah.
some of the players that Perkz was like associating himself with in the early days?
I mean, I don't no, what I don't even remember all of them, but I mean, there was like this jungler Taiki that I played with a lot. He's Finnish. I played a lot with him, and then I got I got with Chrisland. I mean, honestly, I think I can say it now. It was fucking some 13 years ago. I was doing elo boosting. You know, I was doing elo boosting. I was earning some money, like whatever. I'm retired. I don't give a fuck. You know, like I was doing elo boosting back then.
Okay.
So I mean, when you're 13 and you can earn money, like it was like, you know, great. It was like a really great thing for me. So I met some of the other high-low players. I can't even say, you know, but there's like a lot of them. There's like some that are pretty popular right now that I used to boost with like a long time ago.
And what was
So
boosting like back then? Was it like you get in a call and it's like you've got duo? Because that's like the golden age of boosting. Where I know people, I've got like friends now that are like fat unemployed bums, but used to do it back in like season 6, season 5, and they were probably making like 6 figures a year doing it because it's all they did. Like you used to be able to make a lot of money doing this.
I was doing it in season 4, season 3 and season 4. I didn't do it when I became like when I started playing Challenger series. I didn't do it anymore. but yeah, I was doing it. I was doing it back then, and I mean, you could either do a Q boost with somebody, but you know, usually you hated those jobs. But I had like one job where I boosted the account to Challenger, and then I was keeping it in Challenger and maintaining it, you know, and that was like the
How much would you
easiest.
get
That was
for
like the
how much
easiest.
would you get for a job like that?
I mean, I don't know, Challenger boost was maybe like 1K, something around that, and then you would get like I guess 50 for each
And
winning
you were
Challenger.
like how old were you at this time? You were like 14.
13,
And
13 or
what are you doing?
14.
What are you doing with 1K at 13? That's like an obscene amount of money to have at that
Yeah,
age.
that back then that was shit ton of money. I mean, I think I used that money to buy myself a new PC. That was,
Nice.
because I was never really into clothes or whatever
Yeah.
like back then. So I think, I mean, I don't really remember, but I had to buy a new PC. I only like technology, right? And PC was what mattered to me. So I bought myself a PC. Yeah.
So fair enough. That's so you were just rolling around with a bunch of the high elo boosters back then. Um
Yeah.
so and
And
then
some of them are still active to this day today.
which is
No, no,
which
no, no,
is
no. Sorry, actively playing or streaming. I used to boost it, but I will keep it off charts. You know,
no,
I don't want to
of
ruin their
course, of
careers.
course. I mean, it's statute of limitations has obviously passed. I mean, you'd assume so if Drew 11 is listening.
Yeah,
The Drew 11 task force might
bro.
be getting onto some of these players now, but
It's been 12 years ago. Like it's okay.
But you join, you start playing on Gamers too. I think it's in 2015, the beginning in January,
Hmm.
right? That's the first result I
Yeah,
can
in
see.
December 2014, I started like as I was as I was high relo, and I played on that first team in 2014 with Chris Lund, and also I was pretty high rank, and I think I was good. I mean, I would say I was pretty good in SoloQ, and then as I also you get to know people, right? You get to build connections, networking, right? So I got really friendly with Kasing. He was called Yero back then. I actually
Yeah.
liked his old name more.
Well, I think we know why you
And
had to change it, mate.
yeah, but then he liked me, and he got me on G2 as soon as Carlos retired, basically. And it was like Kasing, Kobe. Oh, honestly, I don't
You
remember
had
who were
Ku
top in
and
jungle.
Jaywell
Oh, we
initially.
had cool. Oh my, yeah, we had actually had a stack team, but we lost to fucking Gilius, bro. Like we actually lost to Gilius. Oh, we lost to Gilius, man. So we had a team, G2 team. We lost to Gilius in qualifier for Challenger Series, and then G2 bought. They acquired the roster that beat us in Challenger Series, and then in after I played on Millennium for 2 months, and then after that I joined G2. They kicked their mid lane, and they got me instead, and then we kicked Gilius after a few weeks.
I think I remember you.
That was fun times.
I think I remember you telling the story on the sack or something like this. You like apologized to Gilius for kicking him. What was the reason? Was he just like was he just not the right fit, or like? I mean, I guess you could just you
I
can
mean,
blame him if you
it's
want.
like every time people say I kicked some, it's not like I had fucking power to kick people. But it was more like Smithy J and Gilius, they didn't really get along. I mean, Smithy J had this problem with all of his junglers, as far as I know. I don't think he
Yeah.
liked any junglers. And it was also just Kiki's left Unicorns of Love, or I don't know if he got kicked or left, whatever. He was a free agent basically, and he just reached LCS finals, so we could get Kiki's. And Kikis was like, for Challenger Series, obviously really fucking insane jungler back then. Like, he was definitely the best jungler in Challenger Series. So it was just like a no-brainer for us to get Kikis.
I have a funny Smitty J story actually, if you want to hear it. So Smitty J, like way later into his career, he played on a team called X7, which is where they had like Haru that they had the Korean that got Salt of Vitality. But he's at the end of his career at this point. He's playing in ERL, and he's called Jaeger by this time. He's changed his name. And I remember X7 was a UK team, so they invited me. This is like before anyone knew me. I went and did content, and I was filming this video, and they made me film this video. I really hated it. It was like making the players try UK snacks, but like it was like loads of food that's like not even from the UK. So I kept like giving food to Smitty J, and like he would just be like, but we have this in Germany. We have this in like he would just say that every single time, and the video was so shit because he just would say it every single time. It was so bad.
Smithy J was a very, very, very funny persona. I liked him personally. We had good relationship. But yeah, he was maybe not the, if you could say, the best teammate you could have on a team.
That's fair.
uh,
But in terms of those early days, and I wonder because you were presumably quite a cocky bastard and maybe toxic in some ways in SoloQ in terms of like all chatting and stuff like this. Did you make any
Everybody
enemies?
was toxic.
Of
Everybody
course, it
was
was a
toxic
different
in solo
time. It
queue.
was a different time on the internet back then.
I mean, me and Gillies were like enemies in solo queue
for sure.
before. I mean, enemies is a hard word, It's like we ever really hated each other, but we also like I hated. I mean, I really dislike the Danish kids, like the cocky Danish kids,
Really?
like Wunder, Sankooks. I don't know. They would trigger me a lot. Wunder was like super cocky. Like I actually hated Wunder, bro. Like legit.
What were your first
Yeah.
impressions of him? Like, what kind of stuff was he doing? Like,
I don't know. He was always play some weird cheese big stop, and he was like so fucking annoying in solo queue. And then I would be on like sometimes I would be on TeamSpeak with them or something. I don't even know. And I don't know. He was just very, very, very cocky. Like he was kind of a bully. Like fuck Wunder. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, Wunder pissed on a kid when he was like 9, and he like threw him into snow and pissed on a kid. Who the fuck does that? Like
He actually did that.
yeah, he did that. Yeah, like he did that.
I've never heard that before. That's incredible.
Really, we spoke. I mean, I don't know if I spoke about it, but definitely somebody mentioned it before.
Wow, what a piece of shit, man. That's horrible
Yeah.
to hear. I remember when I did the interview with Upset, he talked about playing against Wunder and people like that back in because he used to do the Danish LAN, and he said that he always found it weird with those guys because they would just start wrestling each other, like in the middle of the LAN hall. They would just all be like actually like wrestling on the ground with each other. So it just sounds like they were kind of like barbarians, maybe.
Yeah, they were fucking, Viking descendants.
It's not good, is it? So yeah, you didn't really like any of the Danish guys. That's really interesting to hear. But you're playing in Challenger Series, and what was this experience like? Because back then, Challenger Series is like you just end up going to random different cities at this time, don't you? And like playing.
No. It was a league
This is a
online. You had
okay.
10 games you had 10 games, and then you went to playoffs, and we went like 9-1, I think, in or maybe 8-2. Maybe we lost only to Origin. I don't remember. But anyways, we were very good, and because Origin was actual back then in Challenger Series. Oh, but they qualified. No, we didn't play against them. I fucked up. But we went almost undefeated in regular season, and then we lost to fucking Mouse of all people. And we still got to play relegations, but not as first seed. And I think Splice won against Mouse, and they auto-qualified to LCS back then.
Yeah. But then you didn't really spend a lot of time there. Obviously, like when you promoted, I think it was against SK you promoted in like a 5-game series. But then you pretty much like played EULCS immediately, and you have the rare kind of, I forget what the name is. You're part of a rare group of players who like win their domestic region in their first split. I think JoJo's part of it. There's a few other players, obviously like famous ones you can think of. I remember the really funny way you put it to me was that, and a conversation I want to have with you is, the main topic I want to talk about is how much of your kind of innate belief of winning and winner's mindset comes from winning that early in your career. And the other thing that I thought was really funny is the first time we talked about this, you literally said to me, well, of course I won LEC. Of course I won EULCS when we first played. Look at how fucking bad everyone was. You literally said that to me directly.
Oh.
So talk to me about your first split in EULCS, because you walked over the competition almost immediately.
I mean, to be honest, I did say that. I did think that was true, but I didn't think that initially when I joined LCS. Like I didn't have really any expectations for us, because we literally like Kiki just rose up to top without me knowing, or we kicked Smithy insta, and Kiki just went top lane. I mean, we were luckiest people in the world that it was like full tank meta, and Kiki was insane at them. But yeah, Hiki's just also top. We got 2 random Koreans. I mean, not fully random. Like they played. Drake was a sub on CJ, and Emperor didn't play. And then before that he played on CJ as well, so he actually had LCK experience. But it was a complete flip, Like it wasn't like it wasn't like I expected us to win, but I think I was just also maybe because of that, not having any expectations, I played very, very well. And I mean, I was like solo killing people basically every second game or every game. In like first 5 games, I solo killed my enemy mid laner, and I was getting huge advantages against anyone who I played against, really. And I realized like, wow, I'm just like, I guess I'm like so fucking good. I mean, I didn't really expect to be that dominant and that good in my first split. You know, it's like I just a random kid who played one split in Challenger Series, and to be fair, also I think I got kind of gapped in the relegation series against Fox. Like I think he was better than me. I mean, some games I outperformed, but I think most of the games or at least 3 games he outperformed me, right? So it's not like I had like very high expectations. But then I just grinded the off season, and I came, and I think my champ pool was bigger than everyone else's, and I don't know. I was just very dominant. Also, top of that, I was very lucky that Trick was like super fucking good. Like Trick was just insane. Like he just came and he just was better than everybody else. So I think that like Army Jungle was very, very dominant, and like we had very good read on the meta. We heard something from Korea as well. Having Korean info back then was like, wow, it's like you have a fucking drug dealer and you can like fast
Yeah.
speed alley him instantly. Like, oh, Rise is really broken and I'll play Rise. Okay, I'll play Rise. And then it's like he just got like a few messages off, and I would just play Rise, and nobody else is playing Rise at playoffs, and I would just 1v9 every game with Rise, or he would get banned. So
What kind of stuff are
enemy
you hearing?
teams,
Are you hearing like fakers playing Rise in scrims or something like this?
he had he was talking with BDD, right? Like he was friends
Oh
with BDD,
wow,
so
okay.
he would just hear whatever Korea was playing, yeah, like whatever, and like BDD said Rise is OP now, so we just played Rise, and Rise
Oh, so
was
you were
very
basically
OP.
just early in your career in 2016. You were basically just shadowing whatever BDD was doing.
Well, actually, whatever Faker was doing, like I would always copy whatever Faker would be playing. I would even sometimes, that was like 2017, I would legit like we played LCS in the evening and Faker was playing in the morning. I would legit just pick the champ he played today because it must be OP. Like it just had to be OP, right?
Wow, so
So I
you're a
would just
little
play whatever Faker.
fanboy. Wow. I
I
mean,
was definitely a
who
fanboy.
isn't?
Like
Like,
I was definitely the biggest Faker fanboy. Yeah.
wow, wow, wow. I wanted to ask you just based off of that because you said like you put it plainly there when you played in Challenger Series, you were kind of getting gapped by Fox, and Fox at one point in 2014 was really good. He's probably one of the top mids, but he kind of like fell off, and by
In
this time,
2015, he was very good for
yeah.
the whole
But
year.
by
And he played with
2016,
SK.
like he's playing in relegation. He's probably still pretty decent in LEC, but he's not like one of the best for sure. But in any case, it seems that when you came in, you had a massive uptick in terms of like you were immediately like solo killing everyone. What made Luca so good that summer, like coming into the new year?
Spring?
It's almost like
It was
yeah.
spring.
But I'm also looking at it like it's like kind of like in the NBA. You hear about athletes, they go away for that break and then they come back and they're really insane. Was it like that, or did it have more to do with Trick being on the team that you got really, really good?
I don't know, man. It's really hard for me to say. I was just very talented, I guess, and I played hard. I didn't work efficiently, but I grinded the game because I loved it. I wouldn't say I was like I had an insane work ethic. I just loved the game. And I just played it 24/7, like legit 24/7. And yeah, I mean back then, it's like you can always compare eras, but it's different. But I think Nuke was like very insane back then, and I had a lot of respect for Nuke. I think he was the only one like I didn't like actually gap very hard. Fabian was also very good, but I always had Fabian's number, like even from the get go, right? So, but yeah, I think Nuke was like very good, and I respected him a lot.
How did you have Forbidden's number? Like you just felt like you had him downloaded. Like what was it you like knew about him as a player that made it so easy?
I don't know, man. I would always just win against him. Like it was hard. It was hard to say why. Like it's like. But I would like. It was also like I was hanging on Discord on TeamSpeak back then with Nuke, Mitty, Fabiven, and some of the old school L9 players that were there. So I think I knew very well how they thought about the game, and maybe I used that. Not maybe I for sure use that to my advantage, at some sort of way. and I knew Nuke was like very stubborn, so I would exactly know what Nuke would pick because I knew how he would think, you know. And the same, it was kind of same with Bevan, right? And I would say I was a bit more of a wild card, even though I was like very aggressive player, and there was like a meme that, you know, like Nuke and Bevan started. It was kind of true. It was like if Perkz doesn't have a dash champion, he will die to every gank. So it's like you know, ZW forward off cooldown, like only trade. I was definitely a bit brain dead, but I think I had really good mechanics to make up for it. Yeah.
Talk to me then, because presumably with you saying that Trick was so good and he gave you so much of this info, did he like kind of mold you into a different style of mid laner? Did you become a different player by playing with Trick? Because the mid jungle is really can be like a mentoring role in some ways, can't it?
I mean, I think he definitely probably, you know, taught me some things. But I think it was just our synergy was very, very natural, and I would say I always had a very good view of the game and how to progress the game, even from, you know, my first days of being pro. It just sometimes I was a bit over aggressive and trying to do things that were not doable, and yeah.
When you say you had a very good view of like how to progress the game, like even from like a very early time, like what was that view of progressing the game? Like if you put it plainly, like because I think so many people struggle to like grasp that as a concept.
I mean, I don't know, like people back then were not like that good, right? So, but it was more like, you know, when I would be winning my lane, I would play for my advantage. If I can't get advantage, I would get advantage for some other lane. Like I think I was very good at roaming with my jungler and invading enemy jungle, etc. And I think my team fighting was very good, and that was like one of the biggest strengths. Like I would a lot of times have big impact in team fights. So I think the biggest weakness was definitely like playing in mobile champions and being overly aggressive. And I worked on that the next off season.
For sure. But in this first split, you come and the anecdote you told me the first time we interviewed was basically you play in the finals and you're playing, you win obviously, but you're playing against Origin in the first series. And tell me about what happened in the series, because they sub Xpeke out at some point. And I remember that's how the way you told it was very much centered around the fact that you played against Power of Evil in this series.
I mean, they couldn't even, you know, I felt really cocky after this because, you know, they had to use 2 millionaires to beat me and they still couldn't. So that was like a bit of an ego boost for me. That was very nice. I mean, Origin was like supposed to be this super insane team, right? And they went to semis of Worlds together with Fnatic, but Fnatic changed roster, so whatever. Origin stayed pretty much the same. And they were by far the favorites. And Venomite, you know, many of even my fans, but League fans in general, like they don't really know the old League, like the beginnings of it, or I mean, I guess the middle age of it, right? And Venomite were like very, very insane back then, but it was like they were not performing that well because Origin had also so many internal issues. But actually, I was supposed to join Origin this off season, right before we won the split.
Really?
Yeah, Xpeke was like poaching me, but there was a clause in my contract from Carlos.
Is that where you learned? Is that where you learned the poaching from?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there was a clause that said that if we won relegations, that my contract would be extended for 1 more year, and I didn't know that, obviously. So Carlos kind of jailed me from joining a team that was just top 4 roles and was a lot more popular than G2. Like if I had to compare, you know, Origin was like this time more popular than G2, and they had this all great veterans of league scene and like top of the top players of their roles, and I couldn't join that team. So there was like another that was a bummer, right? But I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just play. You know, I got a good contract though. Like my first contract was almost 6K euros a month, and I was like, what the fuck, you know, this is insane.
You're like this beats boosting.
Like I'm playing video games and I'm competing and doing what I love for, you know, 6K a month. Like this is, I mean, and if you think, you know, back then 6K a month would probably be like 10K now or more, right? So That was a lot of money.
It's crazy to hear that you could have been on this Origin team, because this Origin team,
Yeah.
I mean, this was kind of
We
like this.
would have for sure, like me together with that like veteran squad, like I would have probably progressed even faster, and I think we would have been it would have been like very insane. Like we would have probably been legit undefeated in Europe like that year, I think.
Do you then, because with this team, it's just to ask, I'll ask a different question in a minute, but I wanted to very quickly, because how much at this time did you feel like there was kind of like a passing of the torch, like passing of a baton in the relay race? Because Xpeke, obviously, like we view him as like an all-time great in terms of like European League of Legends, but he was kind of coming towards the end of it in some ways around about this time. Was he someone at this time? Obviously, it's difficult for you to feel like, oh, I'm playing against someone at their peak still. But how did you feel playing against him? Did you feel like you were like, did you know in that moment you were the next generation, or did you still feel like there was a lot to learn from him?
I mean, against Peck, I actually got like spam ganked and I was inting the early game. But he only played one game. That was game 4, and I was started 0-3, but I ended the game like 7-3, and it was like the best 0-3 Z performance, I guess, that you could have from a Z. Could play as Z mid back then. That was great times, right? I didn't. I had a lot of respect for all the veteran players, but I didn't really think Pekka was that good. And obviously, that time, like he was like not even playing full time, I think. So it was more like as we were started winning more and more, and I realized I was performing well. Like obviously, my confidence was like rising exponentially, and I started having less and less respect towards my opposition. Hence, why my summer split was like a bit flippy. I think that summer split was definitely like I was still very good, but I had a lot of int games. Like
That's interesting though, because you would expect, because then my question would be, is based off, if you joined that Origin roster, do you think the same disaster of MSI 2016 would have happened? Because this was obviously like a major humbling for you. The G28 memes, pretty disastrous tournament all around, right?
It would have not happened for sure, but it was also like we were in process of getting Zvenamiti from Origin, which was like I don't even know how that happened, to be honest. Like when you look back at it, like just think right now, if let's say G2 got like Casey bot lane between spring and summer, like that was like insane. I mean, they really wanted to leave, but then I don't know, there was like so much shit going on. Like our bot lane found out they were getting replaced. I was getting like threatened by Xpec and his mom, for poaching, and they were like going through the messages when I meet on Facebook on their PCs in Spain. Like Xpec's mom was orchestrating this, and then there was this investigation against poaching in the beginning of summer. And like
was this happening while you were MSI or after MSI?
Yeah, while I was MSI, during MSI, I was getting like threatened on Discord, and then there were fans, sending me like death threats and messages and telling me that I should kill myself and that I'm a cocky kid, and like there was like a lot of there was like, let's say, a lot of stimulation and a lot of things that I was experiencing at the age of 17 that I don't know how many other percentage of people my age at that time would be experiencing the same things. And obviously
how old were you?
That.
You were like 17 at this time, 16?
I was 17. Yeah, I mean, I had to be 17. Yeah, I played pro, so it was like it was like so many things happening, and I just wanted to play video games. But obviously, like I knew that it was kind of a fluke that we won spring split, so I was really pushing to get Venomity, and obviously Carlos was always very very, very hyped for everything we can do, to be better. And my goal when we won the split, I was like, I want to be competitive at the international stage. I don't want to stop here, and that's why we got Venomit, so we can actually be competitive at the international stage. Yeah.
And what was it like? Because like for me, like I think about like interactions I've had with people's parents that I know. It's always like friends' parents. I've had like friends' parents be annoyed that we had like a party at their house or something, and like have like the next time I go there, the mum shouts at me or something. But what was it like having a potential teammate's mother like DMing you and being like, "Stop poaching" and stuff like that when you're like 17. Do you remember like? Do you remember what you were feeling like? What
No,
was it like?
I don't know. I don't think I had direct contact with her, but it was more like she was talking to Carlos in Spanish and stuff, and I was getting all these messages. And I mean, to be honest, I mean, it wasn't like since I was not an Origin then, it was not gonna be my potential teammates, but it was more like yeah, she was really running the strings in Origin, and
She's like the boss mama, like the mafia boss.
uh, kind of, yeah. I mean, to be honest, without any, due disrespect or whatever for elder people, like she really fucked it. She really fucked Origin up. That's what I heard as well from the inside out. So it was like, yeah, kind of unlucky.
Damn, crazy to hear.
Yeah.
In any case, I wanted to ask you, talk to me about this tournament because this is a really interesting insight to what was going on behind the scenes because no one really knew that at the time. It's so interesting to hear it 10 years later that that's what was going on and what everyone was dealing with. But do you have any sort of anecdotes or stories from this tournament? Because this is 17-year-old Perkz playing against, you play against Faker for the first time. You play against Xiaohu for the first time. You see some like legends of the game at this tournament. Like, what was this? What was this like? Like, what was the experience for you like playing against some of these guys for the first time?
I mean, Faker was like so next level good. It was like very hard to play against Faker. The other mid laners, like they were good, but I didn't feel like they were like much better than me. And like it's so hard to say because all the things that were happening behind the scenes. I
Do you
think
remember?
tournament
Do you
was
remember what
like a
meeting
major
Faker was like?
catastrophe.
Do you remember what meeting Faker for the first time was like? What was that
Oh, bro,
feeling?
Faker had like so much aura. I was like fucking, I feel like a little worm, next to him. Like it was like meeting Faker was like holy shit, but I actually funny add to that story. Like I met Faker the year before because at 2015 Worlds, like I met him in cafeteria because I was there. Like I was legit with Origin there, like watching their streams sometimes, and like them, like I was like very close with them. Like I infiltrated their squad, and so I was there, and then I met him in cafeteria, and I took a picture with him, and then I met him in international tournament, for 4 months, no, 6 months later. So I guess that was a cool. I mean, he probably didn't even remember that because he took picture with so many people,
No, I
right?
definitely did
But
not.
yeah,
And so, yeah, presumably this tournament was a pretty bit of a flash for you in terms of you just played the games and you're dealing with all this behind the scenes shit. But like, that's the behind the scene shit. In terms of like being a 17-year-old and going 2-8 and just getting all the harassment on Twitter and Reddit, like people were being like very, very brutal. Obviously, it was a bad performance, but being very brutal. How was 17-year-old Luka Perkovic dealing with this? Because you were a class clown, you were someone that kind of had older brothers and stuff like this, but this is a whole new level of like repercussions, consequence, eyes, and harassment and stuff like that. How were you set up to deal with this?
I mean, I don't even remember it for sure. Reshaped me in many different ways. I was trying to shake it off, but it's not so easy to just shake that off. And I actually started, losing my hair like massively at the beginning of summer split. So, while it's genetics, like it could be, I don't know, you'll never know, but it could be that huge amount of stress that I had experienced at that point made me speed up my genetic clock, on
Yeah, you had to take the
like
Turkey trip a few years earlier because of MSI.
and bro, like losing fucking hair at 17, like I wouldn't, now it's like I wouldn't wish it on anybody, like it's like I used to be so fucking nice hair, I used to have this nice head of hair, and I was pretty, and then I lose my hair, and then I'm like, what the fuck? So there were a lot of things, like I guess you had to deal with, but I just kind of disregarded that and just played the game, and just grind. I love the game so much back then that I just grinded. And
Yeah.
I'll just take a really quick
No worries. Do
please.
your
Be right
thing. Do your
back.
thing. Do your thing. Hello, chat. Hello, Perkz stream as well. Hope you're enjoying it so far. I feel like we've got a lot of unique insights so far. We'll probably continue to talk about the G2 era, get through the G2 stuff, and then move to latter career. We're going in chronological order. I obviously have some things that I want to talk about in particular, but yeah, if you're here for a specific thing, you're probably going to hear about it in chronological order, so it'll be easy to follow along. But I hope that people are enjoying in any case. How's my day? My day's going great. My sleep is good again. I made a delicious steak last night, which was amazing. And yeah, just chilling really. Back in the swing of interviews because I took a break for a little period of time, right? What cut of steak? I think it was a rump. I'm pretty sure.
I'm here.
Welcome back. Welcome back. What was I going to ask? Yeah, because one of the things that it comes to me as like a key theme is that you had a lot of kind of mental pressure that built throughout your career, and this was probably the first time that it started. But it sounds to me that you kind of bottled a lot of it up initially. Was that like the main coping mechanism, at least initially? Like when you were dealing with all of this, like how were you like releasing it? Was it just the case that you were just bottling up? Because it all came and like crashed a few years later.
It was bottling up. I've never spoken about this also publicly because I didn't feel like it had I ever had to talk about it. But I came from like a bit of dysfunctional family, and we had some, let's say, family issues, and maybe it wasn't always like peaceful, and it had nothing to do with my parents. So it's just my league was like my escape, like I escaped from my problems and my uh life problems to League of Legends. So that was why also during that year when I went to Worlds, I remember I was we were in a van in Korea, and we were going to some shoot or something, and I just like started crying in the van, and I like completely silently so nobody notices. Like I was like having like a mental breakdown, and I was feeling very homesick. And I guess everything that bottled up, and all my like childhood traumas as well maybe came as well with all the stress and all the pressure that has been built up. So I remember that moment very vividly, like how that was when I realized, oh, I had accumulated a lot of stress. I mean, I didn't really know all that back then, right? Because I was still young and in development. But now looking back at it, that was like the moment when I had realized it. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it's the thing because I can imagine from what you're saying there, it's like you don't strike me as someone that was crying a lot at that time. Were you just like not? How often were you like crying back then? It sounds like a weird question, but like I know for me personally, as being someone that was pent up, I never cried. Yeah,
never. No, I was just very happy that I went away from Croatia and that I got to do my own thing and had completely, like how do you say? I had like really not many emotional strings to my family or friends because just extra context. Like in high school, I skipped school a lot. I missed school a lot, so I hadn't really even built any connections that I had in elementary school and high school. So it's like I legit had nothing. I had like a few friends I was close with, before, but all that faded away as I played more league and as I was starting to compete. So yeah, that was basically like a lot of those things. Yeah.
So it's kind of like from the tumor onwards, when you suffered the fibia tumor, it's like you kind of lost a lot of your personal connections, and you kind of.
No, it was when I went to high school. It was when I went to high school.
Okay.
Yeah, it was when I went to high school because I was dodging my exams. Like I would dodge exam, and then at some point I got sick. I skipped school I missed in school for 1 week, and I would pretend to be sick for 1 week longer, and
then it just starts to spiral, right?
And
like
then I remember that day I came back to school after 2 weeks of missing it. And that was like after 1 month that school started, new school, new people. And it was like these people had already built their connections and everything was like so fast and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't know anybody of this here, and they are acting like they know each other for like months, So I was like, that was the moment when my social life was like gone. I only had league left, elo boosting and online friends.
Absolutely. And it can be quite difficult when you kind of only got online friends as well. I wonder, like, what was that like? Because I know for a lot of kids, and I know for me personally, for a bit of context, like back when I dropped out of uni when I was about 19, I like basically like because I was so depressed, I didn't cut off all of my friends, but it's like we distance. And then when you have
Hmm.
online friends, it's like you can get kind of like really disconnected from real life, and like online is just so like apathetic, and like I mean, like you were saying, like you're hanging out with all the like old school L9 toxic players. Like, was it difficult to kind of still be the happy smiley perks that you were in school? Because you're kind
No,
of
I was very happy on PC. I was
okay.
very happy, and I was same guy I was in elementary school. I was online, like I was the same the same guy. Yeah.
That's good because a lot of people struggle with that. So it's good to hear that you managed to
But
keep
definitely,
that
I mean,
track.
definitely, like, I mean, I also went to some tournaments, right? And I had friends in esports roles now that were like doing the same thing as I was doing, right? So it was, I wouldn't say I completely, like went into my room and, you know,
For sure.
you know what I mean, right? But yeah,
Was you were able to find camaraderie around people that presumably were doing the same thing because so many players back then are like 16, 17 like you and probably are neglecting school in some ways. So I can imagine that when you went on to be a pro player, it was like, at least to some element, you're surrounded by people that are like sacrificing an element of their life to do what you were doing, right?
yeah.
For sure. It's interesting to hear what you said about when you had this like kind of episode of crying in the van when you were at Worlds, because to me, like when you don't cry and you bottle things up, it's that like how you described it. I've related to it so much because it's like when you finally have that cry, it's like you're not just crying about that right then. It's like you're crying for like everything that's happened in the last few years, and you let it out all in one go. It can be quite like it can be quite strange. Was it difficult explaining that, like what was going on with you to other people around you, like team and teammates?
Nobody knew, no. I mean, it was very apparent that I had mental issues that world. I think I was super stressed, on stage as well, and my pocket picks were not working, and I didn't really follow the meta. I didn't really play all the like broken champs that were being played um, back then, and then maybe that's why it triggered me so much every time afterwards in my career that my teammates would not play the meta champs because that's how it felt. How I felt looking back at it. And I was like, yeah, I think I was limiting my team a lot that worlds. I would say I was like not the sole reason, but I think I was basically the biggest reason why we failed at 2016 worlds. Like
Am I
we
right in
shouldn't
saying
have
this
we
is the
shouldn't have
world's
gone 1-5. Hmm?
where there's the famous clip of you crying on stage? Am I correct in saying that, or is that an
No, that's
MSI?
the year after. That's the year
That's
after when I knew we were like breaking apart.
okay.
Yeah.
Because this world specifically, I think you're in a group with Rox Tiger. This is the weird year where Albus Nox Luna makes it out of the group, right?
Yeah. They beat us with Poppy and Nivea. Like I ran the game down.
Yeah, that must have stung. Like, what was the feeling like after that one? Because that's like an egregious one.
I mean, I felt so bad the whole worlds, and I think my teammates realized that, and that was like the nice thing about the brotherhood I mentioned. Like they all were aware of my capabilities and my potential. That, I mean, to be honest, looking back at it, like they had every right to kick me, But like I was obviously like me and Trick solo carried the team to MSI, and I was insane in LEC the whole year. So obviously I'm not gonna get kicked, right? But that Worlds performance would be like enough, to kick somebody these days, right? Um, but I was like, you would not really kick a rookie, I guess I'm talking shit a bit. Like I was 17, I just turned 18.
Yeah.
Basically, that was like the breaking point in my career where I remember I told myself like I never want to be the reason for my team to lose an important game because Worlds games, you can say international games are the most important games. And to be honest, like looking back at it, I think I can say that I was never the reason that my team lost an international game. Like I really think so. I don't think after that point, I think I've
Or at least
been
the sole
very
reason is what you
I
mean,
think
right?
I've been very, very good at every single international event, and I was one of the top performers in my role, either mid or bot lane, at every single international event that I went to after that 2016 Worlds. And that's like I think the thing I guess I can take the most pride in of my career, besides all the all the ints and inconsistencies in the regular seasons and whatnot. Like I literally got I got groomed in a culture where there's when I meet, we're saying regular season doesn't matter. That's my first year as a pro player. Like just playoffs and just internationals. And that's actually how it went throughout my career. Like I had regular seasons where I was very, very good. I had regular seasons where I was coin flippy. But I think when it came to playoffs and international tournaments, like I've always been very, very good. And this is what I can take pride in. Like I don't think there's been a single playoff series or a single international tournament game that was important that I was the reason my team lost. And I did grief a lot of regular seasons, throughout my whole career. I mean, games. I don't think there was a regular season where I grieved the whole season as well, because I would have not played the game then. Just like looking back at it, that was like the turning point for me. And during that roles, I also like I needed like a friend, and Deficio. Shout out to Deficio. Like he was very, very nice to me. Like he took me to like Shake Shack or what was it, and we spoke about league. Like I spoke to him about my problems. Like he was really a good friend for the tournament. Like I really love the Fisher, man. I don't know where he went. Like he was really such a good person and such a smart person in esports. I really love the Fisher. Yeah.
For sure. This is good to hear. Good to hear. Shout out to someone who is an older member of the scene. So many people move on. I wanted to ask you, because this is that brings us to the end of your first year, and then going into the next season. I think obviously during the beginning of the year, before the LEC starts, for EULCS, you play the IEM series. I don't know if there's anything you want to comment on with that, like anything that comes to mind for that tournament.
I mean,
you beat Rocks Tigers
fucking Rocks Tigers. They were like 7th or 8th in LCK, but back then beating a Korean team was like even if you beat like 7 plays, it was like it was good, beat them. But Trick was like so depressed because we were shit stomping Europe and we were not losing a single game, and we struggled against like 8th place LCK team. It was like for Trick, it was like very depressing. Like for Trick it was very depressing. But we ramped up after that IEM. That was really like eye opening, and we lost to Flashfulls, and that was like we really learned a lot about tempo that everybody should know now already. But we were like the pioneers of basing on tempo and playing fast on the map, like and making sure the enemy has no play on us. Like G2 were the pioneers of that, legit pioneers of EU League of Legends, I would say, where really EU started to ramp up, like the first international success, like of reaching MSI finals and being very, very competitive with SKT. With like now people are seeing like, okay, T1 won Worlds again 3 times in a row. Like holy shit! I mean, it's crazy, right? It's fucking insane. It's mind-blowingly insane. But like every single series they play is close. Every single series, besides the World Finals against Vivo, was close. Every single series is tough. Every single series is close. But back then, season 5, season 6, season 7, SKT, that was like dominance that nowadays League fans do not understand. It was like you go into game, you already know you will lose. Like you will know you will lose. Like you somehow just know you will lose. Like they are just that much better, right? And warding system was a lot different back then, and the Koreans perfected the vision control and all that.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
the whole thing, that the kind of the way that I've had it described to me, that I've always really enjoyed, obviously as someone that doesn't really understand the game, but like as a storyteller, likes metaphors and stuff like this, is because of the way that wards work. Like you talk about like Dandy and Marta, like the way that they kind of revolutionized it. It's like, it's almost like a boa constrictor, the way they use vision. It's like they literally just strangle you out of the game and you get choked out of it because you just can't see anything. You can't move. It's just, back when vision was like that, it just felt like unstoppable. Like even if you got an early lead, you knew that you were going to lose at some point. There was like the inevitable feeling. I remember watching so many SKT games back then, where it'd be like EU team gets an early lucky few kills, 1.5 to 2k gold lead, and you just felt like, oh, when is it going to happen that the gold lead becomes even again? And then 10 minutes later, it just happened.
Exactly, and that MSI was like the first time in history of the game that, since season 2 or whatever, that we as Europe were actually very we smashed WE and LPL #1 seed, and we were very competitive with SKT. Like 3 of those 4 games could have gone other way, and game 4, we lost fatigue, we got outdrafted, we got fucked. But like those 3 games, we lost 1-3. But like those 3 games, like it could have really gone other way, all of those games. and I think that was the first time that EU fans could actually have some real hope, of yeah.
When you were playing against Faker at this time, because obviously you met him in 2015, you played against him in 2016, and then obviously you come to this MSI in 2017. You played against him a few times. The Luka Perkovic of this time, you say you felt like you could compete in some ways, but what was the general diagnostic of your matchup with Faker? Like, how did it feel playing against him? Because this is Faker during one of his most dominant periods.
Back then, after those Worlds, like I remember I played like 50 games of Rise and 50 games of Victor and 50 games of Syndra, and I started playing like legit only mages. I completely switched my playstyle. I played only mages, and I got really good at mages. Legit, like the whole spring split of 2017 was like Syndra Oriana, Cassio, this kind of champ. Syndra Oriana was like the main matchup, and I would legit win every single time Syndra Oriana. Doesn't matter which side, against anyone, I would win it every single time. Like no questions. It would be the matchup I was like so fucking good at. My whole team was like memeing about it. It was like, yeah, just play Syndra Oriana. I mean, at some point, the years after, people actually caught up and learned how to play the matchups both ways. But at that time, when it just became meta, and I was practicing those champs the whole offseason.
What's like the secret to it? Not that it's a super relevant matchup anymore, but I'm just interested.
I mean, it was just like about knowing which levels you win as either of the champs, and about knowing what items you need to go.
Okay, cool.
It was not like any. I mean, it was also like playing it well micro, right? Because you had to dodge a low skill shots, and I think I was very good mechanically back then. Like I was definitely like very, very, very good, and I remember that split was like the only split of season 9 summer as well. Like that was like that split. I really thought I was gonna get MVP. I did care about it. I really wanted to win one MVP of regular season. I think I got so fucking robbed. Like still to this day. Chachi got it. Chachi got it for Unicorns of Love, and he was very good. Like he was playing very well, but I really think I got robbed. Like I had fucking flawless regular season. I don't think there was one game I played bad that regular season. So it was like, and I was second runner up for MVP, and I was like, if I didn't get it then, I will never get it, because I was very, very, very good that spring. And when I went to MSI, I really felt like I felt like I could be the best performing mid laner at MSI, and I think you can argue that I wasn't, however you want to say it. Playing against Faker that MSI in scrims. Oh my god, I remember I played this matchup. I played Fizz. Fizz was like my pocket pick. The Faker played like Cassio against my Fizz, and back then you could like go behind minions and not take any minion aggro. They literally and he started E with Cassio, went bad behind my minions, and just completely feasted me. I don't think I got one CS in the first 3 waves. And then he did the same thing to Maple. Maple played LeBlanc and Faker played Cassio. Corrupting Potion goes behind minions, and he completely feasted Maple in the official game. I was like, I feel you, Maple. I wish you had experienced it in screens, because you would maybe prepare a bit better, But then I learned the counter to it. I changed some runes. I went Doran Shield with Jace, so then I got the solo kill on him.
So you actually adapted from scrims to make that?
Yeah, because he feasted me in scrims so hard, right?
That's the one where you flash over the Raptor wall, right? I remember this.
Yeah. In that matchup, he really feasted me. But I think in general, I was doing very well against Faker in scrims as well as on stage. And just gave me a lot of confidence, right? Because I had so much respect for him. I mean, he's still to this day, he's my career idol, right? Like he's if I had to say one player that inspired me or whatever the most, it would be Faker for sure. I've always been a Faker fan, but I had to kick that out of myself consciously. I had to kick that out of myself, because I knew I could never be the best if I had someone that I looked up to so much. So
and when did you do that? When did you do that? Here.
It was after that. I mean, it was already during that I believed I would be better than him. I believed I could win him. But after that, I just, stopped having any idols. I was like, okay, I'm going to be my own idol. I'm going to look at myself and just, be my own idol sounds very retarded, right? To say, I'm going to look up to what Perkz can improve on, and what can Perkz of tomorrow be, more than what anybody else is, because that's the only way I'm going to be the best in the world. Then I'm not going to be playing catch up the whole time, right?
Absolutely. Which MSI is it? Because Upset was telling the story of when he was a sub for you guys at MSI. Which MSI?
Season 7, yeah. He was our sub.
This is MSI. He told an amazing story that I have to ask you about, if you remember it. he said he remembers being at a
Of
table
course.
after the event and just being very quiet because he was very awkward at the time. But he remembers him being involved in a conversation but not talking between you and Peanut, and you guys were like arms around each other. Like I don't know if he said drunk or not, but do you remember this? Like having a chat with Peanut, like some sort of like after party or something like this?
No, yeah. Peanut came. Most of T1 came to after party with Faker. Didn't really wanted to meet Faker and switch jerseys with him. But I think he was a bit triggered because he got like a bit of a beating from me, even though he won. Uh, no, but Peanut was like super nice and super friendly, and I think he really liked me. So we hanged out. We used translator. I spoke with the coaches. I think that was the first time I really felt like, I mean, obviously my first international event where I performed, and I've been winning my region 3x0 now. So it was like all the Korean coaches were talking with me, with translator, and people were like respecting me for my play a lot.
Do you remember
They were
anything
like
funny?
giving me.
What did Peanut say to you? Do you remember anything in particular?
I don't remember, bro. Like I really don't remember.
But you shared a few drinks.
Yeah, and like I said, I remember I said I want like a T1 hoodie. I really like the T1 hoodie. And then the next morning that they left very early, but he left me a T1 peanut hoodie. I think I still have it in my old apartment somewhere. I mean, I should have it. I never gave it away, right? So it should be there. I remember he left me his hoodie. Yeah,
that's really
sweet.
Like
T1 jacket. T1 jacket.
Was he a good drinking buddy?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
That's good to
I
hear.
couldn't remember much, honestly. I probably got shot.
That probably means he was a good drinking buddy, right?
Yeah.
If you can't remember much, that's the sign of a good drinking buddy.
Yeah.
Cool. But that brings us to, I believe, that we talk about 2017. Then you go and you have another relatively. It feels weird even talking about these LCS splits back then in 2017 because it's just seemed like a relatively foregone conclusion. I guess that the 2017 summer is the one where you have like 2 top laners and 2 junglers during it, and then I think even like Blank plays 1 game for you at some point. Like, what was the deal with this?
Oh, we had a sub. We had just subs for first week. That was just first week subs.
What was the deal with first week? I can't quite remember. It was hard to find out as well.
I don't know. I was sick, and I think Zen and Mitty were sick as well. I don't remember exactly. I mean, we were also the split started like a few days after
Rift Rivals, right, or something like this.
No, after MSI, but it started very early.
Fair enough. And what was Sven and Mithy like at this time? Because like Sven and Mithy, like obviously, like it's almost like they had like a celebrity divorce at one point when they stopped playing with each other. But they were a very iconic duo. Obviously, Mithy now is like a coach, most recently on FlyQuest. Sven's still doing his thing on C9. But give us an idea of what these guys were like back then. Like, what was your relationship like with them? Because they seem like really funny guys.
I mean, they played together since season 5. So they played together for a long time. They were like one of the longest standing bot duos together, together with like Wolf Bang and Prey Gorilla, and they were like very good and very respected. And they were like a step above other bot lanes back then. I would only say that Reckless, after he went like complete berserker mode, like he changed his haircut, like he started only playing split pushing ADCs with Blade, Runans, and Frozen Mala and whatnot. I think Reckless just went on full, like, many people don't even remember or know, but season 7, like, Reckless went on full, like, 1v9 mode. Like, I don't know, season 7 Reckless was, like, actually so fucking insane. Like, he just played his own game. Like, he played his own game and he did his own thing, but it was working so well. Like, I don't know. I will always have respect for Reckless because I played against him in his peaks of season 7 and season 8. I would say those 2 years was, like, and he was by far like very, very insane.
He's getting pretty EULCS held in that year though, 2017.
Yeah. I mean, they were very. I mean, he was very insane, but he made his team very dysfunctional. Like he completely jailed them to one playstyle and to losing bot turret every game because of his champs and to side laning and to like it's like he looked very insane and he was 1v9ing and he was very good, but he didn't allow his team to play the game. Like, that makes sense. So as much as he was 1v9, he looked very. There's always 2 sides of the coin, Like his team could not play normal League of Legends because of that, but he was carrying them. So it's like you take it as you wanted,
I suppose that's another big thing this year because this is the year that Caps comes into the league. And what were your first impressions of him? Like either meeting him or just gameplay?
I played some in-houses with him as well, and I thought he was like a very funny kid. I mean, kid is like 1 year younger than me, but at that time, it's like if you're 18 and someone is 17,
I
this
think
guy's
he
a kid,
always comes off a little bit younger. Not
This
much.
guy's a
Not so
kid.
much now, but like back then he must have come off younger as well.
Yeah, and I didn't know much about him because I was playing Worlds, and that was his rise, like his surgence in SoloQ was during my Worlds and my bootcamp. He definitely surprised me, and I think he made me like. I think because of him, I was like already back then improving at a faster rate as well, because he forced me to improve faster because he was that talented. So it's like you gotta, somebody comes up who actually forces you to improve, because he had a one series where he smashed me, but then after that, every other series I played against him that entire year was like he wasn't allowed to do what he was doing before. So he really made me like level up my game, and honestly, it's probably bigger part of the reason why why I managed to perform against Faker that well. I think Cup's pure talent was definitely like, I think to this day still the best we've seen. If I had to rank talent wise, it would be like Cups, me, I don't know, right? But from those era, right? But like his pure talent was definitely like very, very noticeable, and yeah, he made me level up.
And when you say, because it's very intriguing to me, when you say not allowing him to do the things he was, like when you played against him in the later series, like when you first were playing against Caps, like what were the things he was doing? Because I remember him like, there was like the solo kill he did on you. I think he's playing Rise or something. He was doing he was like freaky to begin with, right?
I mean, he was just very good mechanically because he had also played a lot of League, like a shit ton of League. He played it 24/7. So I think his mechanics were just very good. It made me like focus more on my mechanics as well and not making dumb mistakes. And I mean, he had a specific like freaky playstyle as well. Like he would always, try to be like low HP. I mean, he's like a lot of things he did was like so flawed. Like he would play the same ward every single time, so he was so easily gankable. He would like overextend a lot, play very cocky, like kind of like how I did the year before. He would do that. So it's like I kind of understood how he plays, but at the first glance, I got how you say surprised, surprised, and after that, I learned how he plays and what he does, right? And then it was still hard to play against him, definitely harder than any other mid. But it was like things he were doing became expected and not unexpected, if that makes sense.
And how much
So
how much of I guess was a wake up call was he for you? Because you'd kind of you'd obviously been humbled internationally, but like one of the problems you would have surely faced at this time is like waltzing over the competition in LEC consistently. And you talked about having to play against two different mid laners, playing against PoE to win your first one. Was this the first time you kind of like felt a force? You were like, oh my god, this is like a new challenge domestically.
I felt endangered, yeah, because I was at that point, building up so much confidence and status in Europe. Like, just think about it. 16-year-old just turned 17, comes in, wins 2 splits in a row. Like back then, like winning EULCS was a big prestige, right? So I mean, even now but with all the splits that are now, it's like a lot less prestige. So it was like I was I was like the king of Europe, like it felt like it, in League of Legends. I was like the king of Europe, right? So I definitely felt very pressured, that I don't lose that status, right? So that made me work harder and study what I can improve on, right? I think it's just like the pressure was there, so I had to rise up to the occasion. I think it's just that simple, I guess.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense, and it leads you into, I believe it's Worlds 2017 that comes next, and this is the year when you're in the group you're in the it's quite a difficult group. You've got Samsung Galaxy, Royal Never Give Up, and you go 3-3. You don't quite manage to make it out. I think that you take a game off RNG. It's the only game they lose in that group. What were your main takeaways and feelings about this tournament?
I just remember we almost didn't make Worlds that year. And funnily enough, like we almost lost to Splice in quarters, and I don't even know. Was there? I mean, maybe we would be in Gauntlet. I don't remember what it may okay, me would maybe be in Gauntlet, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. It was just very, very pressure series, guys. We played in against Splice in quarterfinals. And that was like the series where I actually trolled it. Like I drank like two cups of coffee because I was like dosing myself with coffee, like well done coaching. And I was like, okay, if I drink one and I play better, I can surely drink two and I will do even better. Then I was like fucking shaking, and it took me some hours to get the coffee out of my system. And then game 5, I really smurfed it. I think I was very impactful game 5, me and Mitty. But yeah, that series almost made us. I don't know what it was, but it was like very stressful for sure. And then the next 2 series, we just 3-0'd both opponents. Like we completely ran through them. So the Worlds, we had a lot of different preparation than to compare to before. A lot of more experience, but I mean, sometimes if you're lucky in your career, and sometimes you're unlucky. Like I was lucky a lot, but at that time it was like a bit unlucky because we won Worlds. We won split, summer split, playing roaming supports, mid jungle support working together. Mitty and me had like super good synergy. Like we were actually smurfing that summer split. We were so good, and I really like the way we were playing. And then Worlds Ardent became meta, and it was like, if you don't have Ardent, you just cannot win. And then we had to completely, like, we played big catch up, like very, very big catch up. And similar thing happened to us in season 10.
Are you saying Sven wasn't good enough as an Ardent player, or?
No, he was. But we as a team played a big catch up game. We had to catch up to different meta. And I mean, to be fair, we did play against Uzi and Ruler in groups as well. Yeah. In Arden meta with tank stop, and it's like, Ben was very fucking good back then. But was he better than Uzi and Ruler? I don't know, right? It's up to others to decide. He was definitely very good, and I really respected him and liked him a lot. I had a lot of respect for his skill. But we also beat RNG, actually. We went like 3-3 in groups and didn't make it out. I think that was like... it
was a bit of foreshadowing for Uzi next year.
We beat RNG, but we lost to Samsung 2 times, and I don't know what happened. Something about the game time, something that we didn't make it out.
No, I think it was that they went 4-2, right? Because they'd lost both games to RNG. So RNG went out 5-1. They were 4-2. You were 3-3.
Maybe, yeah. I don't remember. Maybe that was it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at it right in front of me.
So. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. It could have been that. Yeah. We had to beat Samsung to make it out, yeah. And then Samsung went and became world champions, So it's like, and the RNG, almost went to world finals. So it was like that year was like a bit unlucky. I think in a different meta.
You played against two of the best 3 teams at the time.
I was like very, very good at Worlds. I think I only didn't really play Galio very well, which that's my bad because Galio was really OP. That's one of the regrets in terms of what I didn't play. But I think all the other champs I played, I was very, very good at and efficient on, and my mechanics and laning was very good. So it was just a bit unfortunate that, things went how they went. Okay, and I will just quick piece again because I'm drinking so much.
Wow, this guy's got bladder problems. To chat, what do you mean donor war?
Oh, okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. This is the year at this Worlds where you cry, right? Do you remember what game that was in?
That was the last game, before the last game, because I had grown very emotionally attached to my teammates, and they were like a family to me. And I knew that was like our last game playing together, so it was just very emotional to me.
Talk to me about those emotional connections. Like, who were you particularly emotionally connected to, and like, why were you particularly emotionally connected to?
Everybody.
What did you like about the people on this roster?
Everybody, because we had so much. We had so many experiences together, positive and negative, and it was like band of brothers, like in war. So we had experienced a lot of things, and yeah, I mean, it was everybody. It was legit everybody. It was just the whole group. Even though I knew deep down inside, for me to become the best I can be, I need to detach from all of it and take on a new role.
And what was that? Describe to me what that new role was.
Well, that new role was like being the one who decides things, how do you say, in-game stuff, like everything.
Shot
Like it
caller.
was okay. While I loved and respected all of them, I told it to Mitty later as well. I felt like maybe Sven wasn't like it, but okay, the way Sven and Mitty had attitude, it was like my perception of it as well, and honestly, the others on my team as well. It was like I never felt like with them I could be the best in the world because they didn't have the same attitude that I got to grow into. Compare me with first split and me after 4 splits. And I remember Mitty specifically, like I felt like he always uh, idolized Asians a bit, maybe too much as a player. And while I think he was like at his time, at his prime, so fucking good himself, maybe he never really acknowledged his own skill level for what he was. And many of fans will not know as well, but I still really respect Mitty to this day. I think he was a very insane player. And I just think he was holding himself down mentally. Like I needed a whole revamp. I mean, it was gonna happen anyways. Like I actually wanted to keep Sven and Mitty. Like I really wanted to keep them, but Jake wanted to go to Korea. I expect I didn't really want to play with so much anymore. And no, nothing. It wasn't anything personal. It was more like about your mentality. Like it was more like I wanted to play. I wanted to play with people who thought they could be the best. If that makes sense. I mean, I don't know how to say it. I want. It's hard to say really. Like
No,
I
I
just
think
wanted a new
you've made it very
challenge. I
clear.
wanted a new challenge. I wanted a new challenge, and I wanted to try my absolute best to build, my own team culture and way where my team can perform to the highest level.
That makes a lot of sense. I wanted to ask in that case then, because you mentioned about being so close to this team. Is there any what would you say were the biggest moments where you bonded, if you could share any stories? Or equally, you said about the hard times you went together. Like where were times where you felt like you guys got really close? Like when you look back at that time, like what are the stories that come to mind when you think of some of these guys?
I mean, it was just every day. Like we had a lot of, like we had a lot of team talks. We were hanging out a lot. I think we really had a good culture of, like going out for, food together, going out for beer, going karaoke, whatever. Like we had really good relationship between us as people, and even to this day, today, like I still have good relationship with them. So
Do you still speak to
I
Trick
think.
often, or?
To Korea with my wife, like tourist stuff. Met up with Trick and Expect and Badid for my birthday. They got me a cake. We went drinking. We went for food. We went karaoke. Like I still have this relationship with people that I met 10 years ago, right? So
That's
and
lovely.
that's very nice. Many people can say that if I go to Korea now and I need a place to sleep, like I can sleep on their couch or whatever, right? Like I can. Like I'm a fucking kid from a random village in Zagreb, outside of Zagreb, not even in the fucking capital, and I can go to Korea and I have a place to sleep there. So I think when you really look back and take a step back and step out of your skin, there is something like very very amazing in that fact alone, right?
Absolutely.
And they have the same. They have the same with me. Like Expect was at my wedding as well. So yeah, Drake would have been there, but he was not stuck in army hard stuck.
Well, I suppose we'll get onto that. I need to remind because I'd love to hear more. I'd love to hear more about your wedding. I have two questions from this. I wanted to ask you because you talked about this revamp and you needed to make a new team, and a lot of that is obviously from that that you've got a close relationship with the guy making the decisions, Ocelot, Carlos at that time. What made you kind of the golden boy at G2? Is it the fact that you were there from the start? Like, what made your relationship? What made you the central piece for him, basically?
I think he just saw something in me that like maybe he was faking it, maybe he wasn't, but he told me like season 5, Perkz, I'm gonna make you a star, I'm gonna make you a superstar. You're gonna be the next you're gonna be G2, something like that. And it really stuck with me, like even though could have been faking it, not faking it. He always put a lot of trust in me. He always gave me good conditions, even though he jailed me, right? He knew what I was capable of, and he knew me well enough to like play his fate of G2 on me, and that is something I respect, right? Because he trusted me a lot.
Cool. And then in regards to like Yankos, because this is a period of time, I think 2017, maybe it's 2018, but this is like you guys had a lot of like friendly rivalry and banter. I remember you guys would be on the desk and stuff like that. What was that relationship like? How did that spawn? Like, what's the behind the scenes of that maybe people don't know about?
I was just very, I was very extroverted. Again, in the esports scene, as I was a good player, I could afford myself to be extroverted, and I just like to banter with people. It was nothing deep, It was just like I like to make jokes and I like to, slice the ice and make atmosphere nice. And I think in general, all of my banter and my tweets and in real life, whatever, has always been seen in a friendly way, even though a lot of times fans would not take it that way, right? But like, I don't ever think I ever had a beef with. I don't think I ever had beef with another pro player like
Did
on
you
any team,
expect? Did you expect to play with Yankos one day back then when you were bantering with him? Did you think he was
I
good?
thought Jankos was a very good player. Yeah, I thought he was very good. Yeah, I was hoping maybe I would play with him someday. Yeah, and so we jailed him out of HTK. We got into G2, and the rest is history.
Absolutely, because this 2018, you do the rebuild. You get Wunder and you get Yankos, right? Like these are two players that are probably associated. Probably the first players that are associated with you, and obviously with Cap, Slayer, and Mickey X. Why these two in particular? You kind of touched on Yankos there, but why Wunder?
But Wunder, as much as I hated him before and I thought he was boosted, he actually had really good performances in LCS. I think he was the best top player in LCS, and I got along with him well as well personally. And yeah, I just selected. I think Wunder and Jankos were the best possible players to get, and I think they were the best. So in their respective roles. So yeah, it's very straightforward, I think. Yeah.
And because your career's over, I mean, you can choose whether to answer or not. But how true are these? Like, the meme is like off season happens and Perkz is adding me on Discord, he's adding me on Skype. Come to G2, come to G2. How true is all of this stuff? Like, what to what extent?
It is somewhat true depending on the moment and time, but to be honest, like G2 was the place that you would want to go to, because G2 just like I won 4 splits in a row, like, and I was, very good performing player. That I don't want to laze myself, but I was the best performing player in a lot of these splits in my role, right? And I think it's just natural that people will want to play with me. It's like, let's say, what do you think? I don't know. Let's say right now, whatever, like Kalist is a new hot AD carry, right? Like a lot of people will join Casey because they want to play with Kalist because they see potential in him, they see talent in him, and it was like the similar thing with me back then, where I was winning all the splits. So it was like I didn't have to do much, I had to like just ask people if they wanted to play, and of course the answer would be yes. Like it's not like and these players wanted to get out of their team. I mean, we actually wanted to get Wunder between season 6 and season 7, but he chose to stay on Splice. Big mistake for him. So we got him the year after. And yeah.
And so a lot of this,
Not
a
much
lot
more.
of this in terms of this like a tampering thing. How much of this is because you talked about TeamSpeak, and I know the whole thing was like that you were like maybe not the owner, but like you guys had like a big like TeamSpeak and Skype and Discord that you all hanged out with.
Oh,
Then, right?
Skype, yeah, Skype.
Were you like?
Skype.
Were you
I
kind of
mean, we
like
had.
the? I hesitate to use the word ringleader because it sounds like I'm trying to get you in trouble and implicate it. But you were kind of like
Oh my
you were kind of
God.
the guy who was at the middle of the social hub, right? Like a lot of you were like friendly with everyone, kind of the connection between a lot of different players.
Yeah, I mean, we had the Skype group that, to be fair, was pretty toxic. I mean, but it's like, again, it's gonna sound like, it's like I was 17. There was already season 6. We had the Skype group, like, and we will have like just like some players from each team, and it was just for memes, and like posting, when you play against each other, some trash talk, some banter. And then at some point, I guess it did become kind of toxic. Like people were like blaming their teammates in there. I was never doing such thing. To be fair, I
Of
was
course not.
never like. I mean, I was never dumb enough to like actually flame my teammates in Skype group chats. But yeah,
Who were like the
I
funniest? Who
was
were the
not flaming
funniest
either.
players like in like when you're hanging out on like TeamSpeak or in Skype, like stuff like this? Like who are like the funniest guys you've ever
Nuke,
nuke?
Nuke is very funny. Yeah,
Anyone
Nuke is
else,
very
or just
hilarious.
he comes to mind first?
I just liked Nuke's humor and his dryness. Like I think I always had good relationship with him.
For sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, speaking of which, we go into 2018, and this is you guys don't like dominate necessarily starting off, right? Like you kind of go from winning every split. This is the year where like I think Caps is on, like Caps has kind of come back from his break in 2018. He's probably like he's really good now. Let's just put it that way. Like they win spring. They're the team that makes it to MSI. Did you notice like a recognizable kind of growth within him, or was it owing to more factors?
I mean, to be fair, like I always glaze cups, and I am big, my good friend, and I'm a big fan of him. But his team was like so much better. Like they didn't like back then. I mean, even still now, like teams that don't make changes or make very few changes have a big advantage on other teams going into next year. Really big advantage. Like there's so many things that go into team building and working on small things and habits and understanding each other, comms, short versions for comms, like set plays, etc. Like it's like a whole book you can write about, what you work on in 1 year. That Fnatic had this, and they just mega improved their support. Like they got Hylissang, and Hylissang was also like turbo peaking. Like Hylissang was by far the best support in the league. Like season 8 Hylissang was next level. It was like insane. Like playing against Hylissang felt fucking impossible as a mid laner. Like he was the only one, and Mickey was very good too, but I think Hylissang was a lot better back then, to be honest. I do think Hylissang was better. Um, like Hylissang would just control mid so hard. Like he would be there on every single wave, every single wave. And I remember like I was so mind blown because let's say it was the first time happened to me, and like it sounds very stupid now saying it, but like back then when supports roamed, they would base and go mid, through both side the ramp, and that's it. But Hylissang, he would like gank mid from top set. Like it sounds, when I'm saying this right now, it sounds like I'm an idiot kid explaining this to some other idiot kid. But like back then, nobody else ever ganked me as a support from top set of midland. Like legit. Like I'm explaining this now, like it sounds like rocket science, but it was like no, because league grows so much, and it grows until it comes to a point where it's hard to actually, expand on these concepts, right? But like he was the only support who was really like spam ganking mid, and him and Cups were very, very, very dominating. And I think Reckless also was like by far the
But
best
you
AD
called
in the
this
league.
you called this his peak year, right? Earlier, I think.
Yeah, season 8 Hillsong. Yeah, that was definitely like, and he was also like, Pike got released, and he had this account called Sweeney Todd, and we checked, and he was like 150 games on Pike in like 1 week of release or something. It was insane. Like he just played Rakan, Pike, and roaming supports, and it was like, and his Brown was also like an engage. So as much as like Caps was better that year than he was the year before, 100%. Also, they were just like a lot better as a team. Uh, they made 2 changes, and they were a little better. Yeah. Or one
Absolutely.
change actually. Broxa came last year, and then he came a year. So I think it was just not like we even made it to finals with the whole revamp. Looking back at it, it was the first time I ever cried after losing. Legit, because I lost. I cried because I lost, because I got used to winning so much. I lost my first split. I lost my first finals. I cried. But we were just so much worse as a team, and that was basically it. I think summer was, we started very strong. We started very, very strong, but we were abusing funnel as well. We were also very good without funneling, though. We were peaking in summer because we played a lot of mages bot. Mages bot became strong, and Yana was very good at them. He played Heimer, Karma, Ziggs.
Yeah, his
I don't
Heimer
know.
was like dangerous, right?
he played a lot of things, and we played very heavily topside, like very heavily topside, and it was working very well. I think we had a very good record. And then something happened.
You got
I mean,
3-0 by Misfits.
I'll just shorten it. I'll just shorten it a bit so I don't, I could speak about every split so much. Like, we screamed before those playoffs, and we won like 1 or 2 games in the whole week. We had a complete mental breakdown. Like, we were out of it. Then we played against Misfits and we lost 3-0. Like, it was, but nobody expected to win. Then we had like a talk. I cried again. We had a talk. We took a break. Everyone went home for 10 days. We came back. We played Gauntlet. We smashed everybody. Gauntlet. I mean, smashed is maybe a hard word. We had 1 close series, but the others we played really well. And in scrims, we were very good as well. But that also happened to be the patch when everything got reworked. So, like the Aatrox, Sakali, Aurelia, we were good. And me and Munder were playing all the champions, and we were flexing them. And suddenly we were very dominant again. Like, again, I would say that was the most dominant we've been in Europe. We were doing very, very good. Like, we started dominating scrims. And then we went to Worlds.
Yeah, this is the Worlds where you, in the group stage, you have that like group with one of the teams that like haunted you at international events, Fong Fu Buffalo, if you remember them. I think you're in a group with the Freaker Freaks and Flash Wolves as well. And you I think you guys make it out on tiebreaker after like going 1-1 against every team. And I think you play against Flash Wolves in the tiebreaker and you win it. Do you remember this group stage? What was this group stage like for you?
Yeah, I remember. Was very easy for me personally. Like, I would say that was definitely the tournament where I felt individually the strongest, besides maybe the Worlds with ADC. But that was, I guess, if I had to I wouldn't say that was like my peak of my individual skill, because I think that was actually in 2022 when I joined Vitality after C9. But,
wow, that's controversial.
Regarding that, yeah. But that was definitely the tournament where I felt like, how they say, if I compare myself to other players, I would have ranked myself the strongest. Like, my honest opinion of my perception of me. Like, I had very high confidence in all the champions that were being played, and there was not a single meta champion that I could not play. So I feel like I had the advantage in champion pool on every other mid at that tournament, and I think honestly that it was true. It just happened that some players like a rookie had their pocket picks that were hard to play against, aka Jace Midland. That was rough times.
Where would Perkz rank himself in terms of mid laners in the world in 2018 at this World Championship? How good were you?
I don't know. I would have ranked myself the best at that time, right? But since I lost to Rookie 3-0, I would have definitely said I was top 2 then, or Caps was there as well, so however you want to argue it. But we were actually doing, because we were struggling against Fnatic the whole year in scrims. Like, our scrims against Fnatic were not pretty, man. They were not pretty. And at Worlds, they were actually good. Like, we were beating Fnatic in the scrims at Worlds. The meta was a lot different, and topside had a lot more control. So I would say that we we actually, funny story, when we played together the year after, and me and Wunder and Caps and Mickey, all of us would sometimes stay up until 3 a.m., 4 a.m. just playing board games, like talking shit and stuff, like rewatching old games. Like, we had like a hypothetical analytical
about what would happen.
Me and Wunder were explaining Caps how we would have beaten them if we faced the Worlds 2018. Like, we legit had, like, we were like, me and Wunder were like mansplaining to Caps how they would have gotten stomped if they faced us at the Worlds.
Did he believe you?
It was like so fucking funny. Him trying to argue against 2 of us, and especially me and Wunder, it was like hard to beat us in an argument. He was getting like a bit triggered towards the end. No, but I liked my play that Worlds and scrims. I really felt easiness against other players. I think Rookie was definitely the hardest opponent I've faced ever, honestly. That Rookie that year. So, but yeah, it's like, you can debate it, right? Like, I liked myself, so I would have placed myself top 1, but Rookie obviously won Worlds and was beat me, so he was the best.
But you play probably, I mean, definitely your most iconic series. It's personally my favorite series ever. I think I even mentioned this the first time we did an interview. This series against RNG, Game 5, Luka Perkovic, your LeBlanc. This is like for me the most iconic performance by any Western player ever. When we first did this interview, we talked about you talked about being in flow state and achieving flow state, and stuff like this. I wondered if you could touch on this because I found that very interesting when you talked about it. Was this one of the was it you experienced flow state previously, but this was different. This Game 5.
Mm. Yeah, it was game 4 as well. It was actually like the 1-2 comfort zone. I remember going to toilet with Wunder, and we were like, I mean, this is what people perceive me as toxic, but like you had to cope with situations, right? So it was like we were like pissing next to each other, and we're like just like whatever you do, just don't press tab and don't look at the CS because like the game before, like our bottom was down like 50 CS a minute 10. I was like, just we're just like laughing, just like just don't press tab, like just like pick some flex champs and have fun, And it was like the games that we won playing against Uzi and the games that we lost playing against Uzi felt very hard. He felt very untouchable, but the games that we beat, it felt like he was like very easy to beat, So it's like very hard to say. I think game 4. Honestly, I think my Aatrox was like people remember my LeBlanc, but I think my Aatrox was like peaking because like my Aatrox in scrims was like so boosted. Like I liked playing Aatrox, but I was actually so bad at him. I mean, I practiced him. I was very bad at him in the beginning, and then I practiced him and I got a little better at him, and I was ready to pull it out on stage. But Wunder was like, I know he was skeptical of my Aatrox. Like I knew he didn't like if I played it so much. He was preferred if he played it. But I felt very confident after some time. And then my Aatrox game was like very, very, very good. I think that game I really smurfed it. And the game 5 with LeBlanc, it was just like for everything I mentioned, everything that accumulated, it was just no stress. It was no pressure. Like nobody expected us to win. Nobody even expected us to get this far. I mean, we got 3-0 by Misfits, and the meta is perfect for us. Like I have a lot of success in scrims. I'm beating more of the other mid laners. Like I have a lot of success. I mean, hoping myself that I'm gonna do better than enemy mid. So it's like just all this combined, just go and play the game and see what happens. And it's just that kind of attitude that led to whatever perceived flow state. And the game just felt very natural. I think everybody played very well. I think a lot of praise for that series goes to me because of the flashy game 5, but my teammates definitely played very well, all of them.
Yeah, I mean, Hyanan and Wadid deserve a lot of credit for, despite going down a lot of CS, they're playing against like one of the best AD carries of all time, right? And no offense to Hyanan or Wadid, but they're not like you wouldn't consider them in the same like realm of conversation as like all timers, right? So for them to be able to like, do their job, I think they deserve a lot of credit. I wanted to ask you, what was like Uzi's reaction when you like shook hands, or like when you like won game 4? Like, did you see him, or did you like when you shook hands with him? Because you quite literally like you damaged his legacy in real time, winning that game 5. It feels like.
I don't remember really. I was like so out of it. I was so out of it. I couldn't remember that.
But this must have been
remember...
a big redemption moment for you then. After all those years, like this was like, do you feel like you'd finally like, because obviously you'd gotten a lot of respect internationally from people even at like MSI 2017 because you started performing well, right? But was this Worlds like a time where like you were like, fuck, like I've finally like really proved myself? Because this is like when this post series went on Reddit, this is like one of the most upvoted things on the subreddit, I think.
I mean, I just remember thinking like, holy shit, I can actually do it, I can actually win Worlds because RNG was just perceived as by far the best team in the world. Like that was the perception, and that was the golden year, right? And I definitely believed I could win the whole tournament, and yeah, obviously I was getting a lot of messages. A lot of people were like glazing me. A lot of people were very happy to be my fans. There's all the things to my career was like very very up and down in terms of popularity, right? Because when I'm winning and I'm making Europe proud, people are very happy to be my fans. And then when I'm losing, people are like, oh, this guy overconfident, this guy's cocky, this guy this, that. Like, I always did it for the entertainment. I always did it for the banter. I always, try to put on my best show and give it absolute my best I had. So it felt nice to be rewarded for it. It felt nice to win. To bring my region up, to bring everybody else with us up.
What do you think about that quote? It's very heavily memed. That I really feel terrible whenever I look at that smug mid laner's face.
But that one is my favorite for sure. Yeah.
How do you feel about? Tell us a story about that for those people that don't know, because there's a lot of people who are probably newer that don't know about that.
I don't remember. I don't know how that came. That was like Chinese memes, I guess, or what?
Yeah, something like this. But that's one of your favorite things that's been said.
Yeah, for sure. That one is actually funny.
Great.
It's stuck on, it's stuck on.
For sure. Then at the end of 2018, going into 2019, obviously, I guess a question for me, because it's been so long, that would be interesting, is that obviously this team did well. You consistently have spoken about how you have a desire to go and win. Tiana and Wadid was obviously the more weaker part of this roster. Did you know that they were going to be replaced going into 2019 by the time you were at Worlds, or how early on did you kind of know that you know that you wanted different players potentially?
I mean, as I seem out to be like a toxic guy who benches people, I always have, I've never liked speaking verse of other people, right? But I need to have some explanations, right, for my, because this was on me for sure, but Yaron, as much as I like him, I think I spoke with him afterwards, years after, and he was aware of it. He was not practicing nearly as hard. Zai and Kai'Sa were meta the whole year. He never touched them. He would go and play Singed, he would go play Singed on his Smurf top lane after scrims. It was that work ethic just completely tilted me. And as I was, still young and in mood to win everything, and I mean, I was always in mood to win everything, but that thing, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't bear it. I actually couldn't bear it, and I didn't think it was gonna be that way. So every time that somebody on my teams got cut was because of their mindset and performance. It was never for the gameplay. It was always because of mindset and performance. Yeah, so that was basically. I knew that in order for us to potentially be the best team in the world, we had to change them, right? And that was Mickey. I felt sad we didn't get me. I didn't trust in Mickey the year before. I think I got a bit bad perception of him because of Venomity, to be honest.
Why?
But after playing as team in Misfits, because they were always saying, yeah, Mickey is insane. He's mechanics is really good, but he's really dumb, kind of thing, I mean, he was getting caught a lot, and he would walk with karma into jungle. And
some things never change.
But to be honest, I got actually fucked by them, by Venomity, for saying that, because I trusted them a lot on every opinion on bot, So I had this in my mind, and that's the reason why I didn't even think of Mickey the year before. That was mind blowing. But to be honest, he had a really good year on Misfits, and even though the end of the year was really bad for them, he experienced a lot of bad things on Misfits. So I really saw the true potential of Mickey before maybe others saw it, And I was like, okay, this guy's gonna be insane. We have to get Mickey no matter what. And to be honest, I was entertaining of playing ADC because I really liked playing Zai and Kai'Sa, and I played them in funnel. And it was in the back of my mind since Summer Split already, since I played final. It was in the back of my mind since Summer Split. Even Hillsong told me in spring when I randomly got autofilled to AD carry, wow, your Zai is better than half of LEC ADCs. There was also one seed, there were some seeds for sure. They were thinking of me, but I didn't really think about it fully. And it was also because we were in heavy talks with getting Upset. I wanted to play with Upset. I thought he was very talented, had good potential. And to be honest, what was it? Schalke was asking 700k for Upset, and I was like, what? I guess mentally, are you guys insane? So they jailed him. They jailed Upset. But as I was thinking throughout the season as well, I was like, wait, it will be really cool.
With the 700k, were you sort of saying to us a lot maybe we should do it, or was it just that's too much?
No, what, I was never dumb. What? I understood business.
Sure.
But anyways, it would not be worth to pay for me 700k,
Sure.
So I was entertaining the idea of playing ADC because of what other people saw in me before for ADC and what I showed on funnel. and felt very easy for me because I played ADC before I also to middle, season 3. So I was just naturally good at the role. Like it really fit my playstyle of leading the game. It's like if the game is played around me, and it was like kind of play AD carry if you can carry the game. Every game should be played around AD carry. That's literally like it should be played around AD carry every game. If your AD carry can carry the game, your AD carry is the main position. Every game maybe overstated, but like 90% of the game, so it was like I was thinking about it more and more, and it would be very nice to have like to prove myself, not just as one of the greatest mid laners in the game, but as to prove myself that I can be one of the greatest ADCs in the game. Because in my mind, that would really like cement me as one of the players that did something that nobody else did, and beating Faker and reaching winning worlds and winning more worlds than him would be like very fucking hard. So I wanted to leave my mark. I wanted to leave my mark on the game somehow, do something that others haven't done. And sure, you can say there has been role sus, but there has never been a role sus from mid to ADC that was like that, or and this is why actually I respect Zhao so much, because he did the same a couple of years later. He also put top, and he was very good at top lane. I was like, wow, this guy is fucking good, because I played against him a few times and streamed on the stage, and I never really put him on the same level as maybe some other mid laners of that caliber. But when I saw what he could do on the other role, I thought that wow, this guy is really good at League of Legends. He really understands the game, and he is very talented. So that was basically a lot of it was coming from my ego to prove myself more, to do like I always like to keep pushing limits, like we changed the whole roster, we got this far with this roster, like let's change something up again, get even further. And if we won Worlds, it would have been like the perfect Cinderella story that never could ever happen again, right? And we didn't, and I think it's still the same, I still think we were the best team of that year. I still think what that team did that year will never ever be replicated by any other team
that's
again
sad
in League
to
of
hear.
Legends.
Don't say that.
So it's like we did I left a mark on League of Legends
For sure.
with my decision that can never be replicated again, I think, in my mind. So that's something I'm happy about, right? I don't think many players can do that, right?
Absolutely. I wondered if I could get just because it's all done now. There's no point like holding too many secrets. But what's the real story, if you can share, in excruciating detail of how you got caps? Like, how did that happen?
I mean, to be honest, like there was not even poaching. Okay, I messaged him on Discord, on Skype, if he wanted to, if he was interested in this, and he was very interested. But his contract was running out in like 1 week. It's like, sure, he's in contract for 1 week, but like, come on, he's not like we're buying him out or something. He left himself. Like he wanted to leave. He saw the vision. He was a visionary like me.
How hard was it to convince him? Not at all.
It was not hard at all. No. Well, I didn't do any convincing. Like I just asked him and like imagine it, and he was like, I mean, I can see it. Like there was like no convincing. It was just like, okay, so how it's like kind of like an anime thing, where like I understand. Like I acknowledge my own talent and I acknowledge his talent, and he did the same thing. Like it really felt like the only way we could beat the Asians was if we played together. Like if we could truly beat them, like because both of us were like so close to touching actual glory, success that year. So it was like an anime story, It wasn't like something that actually happens in real life. We were both of us so close to touching the stars that we just felt like if we played together with our talents and I got to speak with him more before, like we spoke about the game, we discussed game, and I saw that he sees the game like there hasn't been any other player that I played with that sees the game very similar to me, like
and
same
please,
as me. Like,
please, before we move on, explain to me how that is, because I feel like Caps, I've never seen an interview where he explains that, and it's even difficult. It must be difficult.
It's hard, but this is hard to explain because this is just like this is not explainable with words. It's just about like what every champion should be doing and each time, what champions you should be drafting, what draft beats what draft, what lane you should play around, mechanics of the champions, like the best possible mechanical execution always mattered to us. Like we would always be very, very critical. And that's what I liked about Wunder and Mickey as well, because they were similar to that, to us in that regard, where like they would be very, very good mechanically, you know, and we would all critique our
And then Jankos
mechanics
was
and
just
our
there.
executions. And yeah, Jankos was Jankos, you know, doing his own thing, right? I mean, like taking care of us in the game, right? So it was just a mix of group that cannot be replicated, because it's very hard to replicate such thing, right? And it was very apparent that, like, how do you say, you know, looking back at it, like everybody was fucking insane and all these players are so good, but it was like me and Caps had like the highest input on the team, you know, and whatever, like we were aligned on like 99% of things of the team, and the 1% of things we wouldn't align on were like, we would have these like meaningless arguments that would last like 30 minutes, like once in like 3 months, you know, after a lost scrim game. But that would happen like so rarely that you can almost like neglect it, you know, because it's like we would align on 99% of the things. And our direction would like our game direction are, say, mostly like, it's mostly draft, but it's also like in-game stuff, you know, would like, I would say maybe we would be a bit, maybe Cups would be more of a, maybe he was more of a, we would do more drafting how he would prefer, but maybe we would play the game more of how, not how I would prefer, but let's say I'll be more of a leader in game, and we would maybe more go for Cups ideas in draft, even though it was almost always the same. But some of it really backfired, you know, like Pike mid and stuff. I was like, you know, I knew it was dog shit, but we were so deep down the rabbit hole. It was like, maybe it just works, you know, like maybe it just works. Let's just get it done with. Like maybe it works. Yeah.
What was your relationship?
like-
What was your relationship like with Caps? Like, if you had to describe it, like when you were playing with him. Obviously, it's different now, because you're both older and you're retired. But when I spoke to Grabs about it, I was like, oh, was like Perkz kind of like an older brother to Caps in some ways? And he was like, no, not really. Perkz was the leader, but it wasn't really like that. I guess from your mind, talk to me about your relationship with Caps, like what it's like.
I mean, it was kind of like that, but I mean, with everybody you have a bit different relationships, but like he was kind of like I did feel like he was like kind of my younger brother, and like I was when Caps and Mickey joined, I was hanging a lot with them because I'd already built a very good connection with Wunder and Jankos, so it was just more natural to hang out more with Caps and Mickey, to make them feel welcome to the team, and especially to make him welcome to the team, because I knew that team culture, like people being comfortable in a team setting, is like the way to win. Like everybody needs to be on the same page, and everybody needs to, you know, practice SoloQ, train hard, discuss ideas, get along with each other, personal level. Like I fucking even started playing Magic the Gathering with Mickey and Cups, because, and Wunder joined as well. Grubs, like we all did, you know. I would never play card game before, right? So I would just like accommodate myself. Right, I would accommodate others to like make them feel more comfortable, and to like get bond, get a deeper bond with them, right?
For sure. I guess my question would be, kind of, people have an idea of who Caps is, but he's also such an enigma in that, like, you can never really tell what's going on in his head. You're probably one of the people in esports that like understands his head the best, because you say you've found someone in him that you see things similarly as. If you had to describe to people who the real Rasmus is, or like maybe what people have as a misconception about him, what would you offer? What would you say?
I mean, what's a misconception about him?
I'd just say, if whatever what do you think that people get wrong about him? What do you think the truth is for him? Like, how he is as a person?
I don't know what people get wrong about him. Like, I don't know what is like. I don't know, and I don't
Sure,
really care about the public
I'll re-ask
opinion.
I'll re-ask the question. In terms of like you seeing him very plainly in an environment every single day, who do you like? How would you describe Caps as a person? Like,
Well, like everybody else, you know, as like we were, you know, we were actually, I was talking with Mickey some other day, like Mickey and Wunder, and like people would often say, you know, that we were winning, like the Cups was carrying us, that he was just like carrying the team, because we he played very well and he was very good. I mean, everyone on our team was exceptional. Everyone on our team did so well, right? So um, it was like it was a very good it was very good gameplay from us. What was I gonna say? Was that you get to see him every day, in his like natural habitat, and you get to see a lot of hints from him and a lot of things he does in streams that like completely tilt you and like get you out of your mind. So I think I mean I can't say anything bad about anybody because every one of us had their own flaws, and he
No,
was
of
like
course, I wasn't
super good
asking you to.
teammate. He was super good teammate uh to have the everybody on our team had days where they were feeling worse, they were feeling better. They like when you play for so long together, like it's just gonna be normal. So I don't really know what the exact question of yours is, but it's just that um, I liked him a lot. I liked playing with him, and I think I got to see his POV and understand him a lot better. So
What are like some of your favorite things? Because like for me, like my favorite cap stories are like him reading the oven to like know what time it was because he hates using a phone, or like him like being at the airport and just being like, well, if you won't take my bag, I'll just leave it here. Stuff like this. Do you have
oh
any?
my God, he had we went. I think it was Greece. We were in Greece in season 9 summer finals, and he had a jacket. He had like a fucking winter, like autumn jacket that served as like wallet for him because he doesn't like having a wallet. CBS having a wallet, so he has a jacket, so he can put his things in the jacket. It was like us walking around in t-shirts and him just having a jacket. Like I was like, how can you even like?
Was it quite
We
hot
were
as well?
often
Because Greece is quite hot.
it was very hot. Yeah, we would always like tease him that maybe he's like an alien.
He's a little
And
bit
make
of an
him,
alien. It's magical
yeah,
as well. It's good to see.
yeah.
I asked Mickey if there was any things I could ask you about, and he told me this is what he said. He said, "Can you ask him how the shower got broken in 2019?"
Oh, yeah, because Caps was like that. Like he was also, um, he was. I mean, that's why I said we did have like this kind of like older younger brother thing because he would be like, I think a lot of the teammates on my team, because I was the leader, and people would make fun of it, like and people would tease me as well. So and I had a lot of emotional reactions back then. So my emotional reactions would like uh make people happy. So Caps was like trying to tilt me. And I was just like chasing him around the house so that I can hit him or something, like whatever, that I can like hit him on the arm or whatever. I don't know. Like I don't even know like I would have probably killed him if there wasn't anyone in the house back then. But yeah, he was just he had to get punished, for his mistakes.
So how did you break the shower?
I don't know. I think he ran into shower and I think I maybe hit him or something. He broke it. Like he like I don't know. I don't remember, bro. I
He
actually
also he
remember
also mentioned the small bathroom door. Something to do with this? Do you remember this?
small bathroom door.
Apparently, like broke it or something. I don't know.
Uh oh, I literally got locked. The door.
The handle.
The key lock was stuck. So I think I had to break the door if I remember right. I
Oh,
forgot about this. It could have been a thing. Yeah, I think I had to kick the door. Yeah,
sounds like you guys were
yeah,
having a lot of bathroom related issues in 2019.
yeah. I
Uh,
also broke a monitor once at Worlds. So
oh, how did why did it, why
not
did
like directly, but I slammed the table so hard that it had like a shortcut. And
Jesus?
yeah.
You were a little rager back then. Fucking hell.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about something difficult potentially. It's something I obviously checked with you that we could talk about because it's sounds
Oh,
weird. Sounds
wait. Sorry, man. My food is here. I'll just pick it up.
no
I'll be
worries, no
back.
worries. Do your thing. Oh
I'm
yeah,
back.
welcome back. Yeah, I wanted to talk about something potentially difficult with you. I'm also conscious of the fact that we don't have a lot of time left. We might have to pick this up at some other time if we run out of time because you need to go at some point. But I checked with you if it was okay to talk about this, and it's something I want to talk about. Is this was a year 2019 where, although you experienced a lot of success, it's really difficult for you personally because your dad, I think his cancer returned, or was it the first time that he got cancer?
No, he got diagnosed with cancer in like March, in March of 2019. I mean, there are a lot of things going on, like Mickey's wrist issues, me also up into a whole new role, learning it, like not being with the very best at the beginning. Obviously, like I had a lot to learn. Then my dad got diagnosed with cancer. Like there were a lot of things, there were a lot of like mental hurdles that I had to overcome, and obstacles to cross to actually get to where I could be, right? So yeah, he got diagnosed with cancer, and with the 6 chemotherapies, it looked like went away. It went away, but then basically, it got back at the end of the year. Yeah.
And you talked about previously, like kind of your method, at least until a certain point, was to kind of bottle it up. But I remember reading there was a Czech article that went quite big on Reddit. Believe it was a Czech article at least because I had to translate it when I read it. It looked like Minecraft enchanting language, so I presume it was Czech. But it talked about you basically had this like moment where you almost described it as like a demonic attack, where you kind of, after hearing that your dad had gotten sick again, after thinking that it had all gone away, you basically kind of had this like very like religious moving experience that kind of moved you a bit closer to your faith. Because I know growing up, I think your parents were both theologists or something akin to this. I wondered if you could just talk about that, because that sounds like an experience that would have been very mentally taxing and damaging, because to have this kind of out of body experience where you feel like you're kind of I mean, I guess talk about it, because it would have been
Yeah. Yeah, they're both professors of theology in school. And as mentioned, the previous things I mentioned in 2016, 2017, like all these things have been bottling up, and all of my concentration and my focus was on my success in my league career. Like nothing else mattered. And 2019, after that MSI, we won MSI, and a summer, when we came to summer, like me and Miki, I think we SoloQ then in bottle like 8 or 9 games 0. Like I was obsessed. It was like I was obsessed with winning worlds and nothing else will suffice. Like, and I was really fucking insane. But I think at that time, it was definitely like my obsession really got to me. Like I was for sure very negative at times. Like I could be very harsh on people because when you're winning and you're stomping everybody, like somebody I mean, my teammates, actually all besides Wunder, I think, thanked me for that later in the career. So it's just a fine line of doing it, and I think I was not being able to control my emotions fully, right? So somebody had to be the guy who says, we can't fuck around here. We can't do this. We need to be better. We need to, we can't make these mistakes. We can't overstay here. We can't make this play. We need to communicate this. Somebody had to say all these things that would make us improve inch by inch, millimeter by millimeter to be the best in the world, right? And to not get complacent, because complacency is what kills you at top, right? It's so much easier to chase somebody who is at the top than for you to stay at the top and stay ahead of the other people who are trying to reach the top. And this is what I was doing for my team, basically. Like on top of that, playing ADC in that team was absolutely fucking miserable because I mean, let's face it, everybody just was doing their own thing, Wunder and Cups and Silent and the Mickey in thing with them. Only Jankos, at some points I thought only Jankos was like a actual human being on my team. I mean, those are all the moments I'm explaining my perceptions and my POEs from the time where I was definitely mentally very strained. And afterwards, like it was like, now thinking back about it, trying to remember those times, it felt like I was a different human being. Like I was like, so I given last 3 years fully into League. Like 99% of my life was League of Legends, like legit everything. That I came back and I think I got sick. I went to Turkey that off season as well. and I like it was like hard for me because I couldn't sleep. I went to like work for hair transport, right? And then I had like a lot of things that were like happening in my head, right? And then I got the news as well. My father got cancer again, and now it like how do you say, expanded, like it was like everywhere. And I mean, I knew what that meant, right? Nobody had to tell me anything else. um, so all these things, after I came back from Turkey, that I was like, I was physically so weak because I was keeping up myself physically, it wasn't like I was being shredded or something, but I would go to gym, to sauna, just to like get steam off, like to like I was only focusing on the physical aspect of me, of keeping me sane, let's say, but like the spiritual, like the spirit and mind were being completely neglected because I was so burnt out and over pressured, that it was like after that I felt like so weak, and all the childhood trauma as well kept coming to me. And I had like forceful thoughts of like, I had like forceful thoughts, which is what you can describe as demonic attack, like of like, wanting to jump off a balcony. It's not like I was ever suicidal, but it's like there is this. I always talk about this in Croatian, and I learned a lot about this in Croatian, so it's a bit hard for me to translate it all to English because it's not a vocabulary I used. But these forceful thoughts were coming, and it was then that my brother also helped me a lot, and I was, how do you say, I was raised Catholic, right? I was raised. I went to church every Sunday and all that, but like it's not like I ever lived my faith. It's not like I ever really. And to this day, today, I don't really feel like I'm, a good Catholic, a good Christian, but it's like a journey, it's like something you work on. It's like you work on your body in the gym, it's like you work on your mind while whatever, reading, meditating, walking, is the same thing you work on. Is you work on your spirit. So at that time, I had, my what is this word? Like I let's say I came back to faith, right? And I really like saw a lot of the beauties of it. And when you're just, wait, what is the word called? Convert. It's like when you convert, it's like I converted back to
yeah, because I remember reading, interestingly, faith, right? You had like a combination, your beliefs at those times was like a combination of Christianity and a bit of Hinduism as well, right?
I mean, it wasn't anything really like, I would even say that I was like an atheist in season 9, because like I don't even know what I was, like I believed. I would still go to church because I went to it all my time, but I wouldn't mind missing it as well. And it was like, I didn't even know why I was going to church. It was just, like, no, not at all. And I was like, I mean, at that point, I don't mind saying it, I was definitely very egoistic, and the power and success has been taking over me for sure. But it was like, because the league was all I cared for, and my reputation as a player was all I cared for. But after that, like all that game crashing down, my pyramid came crashing down, and then I started building it up again, right? Like I started building myself up again. So while season 10, I think was the season 10 winter, I was definitely, like, my teammates noticed big change in me. And then in season summer, in season 10 summer, as I went back to ADC, and my father, was really, really bad, and I knew he was gonna die. Like, he passed away, and then a lot of these things that were like haunting me from before, it's like the attacks came again, kind of, in a way, and I was definitely a lot more negative, even though it was still not as bad as it was before. I would say I wasn't like a super I how do you say, I wasn't like super happy. When I look back at it, I wasn't super happy with how I approach things, right? And obviously I'm healed from all of that, and I'm very fine, and I don't have any issues talking about it right now. It's like, literally, right now as I'm talking to you, it's like I could be talking about what I ate for breakfast. So this is the levels that you have to reach, in a way, like you have to let God heal your wounds, because you're not gonna heal them by your own. Like, it's not like I have the power to heal all of my wounds, all of my problems, all of my traumas. No, I don't, right? So this is what many people struggle with in life, and why so many of even youth nowadays, I know they're on the antidepressant pills and anti-anxiety pills and all of those things. It's a real problem people face every day, and it's
What would you
again
suggest? Because
mentioning, like, just because I converted and I started working on my faith doesn't mean that I'm a better person, or or even worse. I'm very aware of all my flaws and all of the things that I have got in my head since growing up, and all the wounds that I'm still yet to heal. It's just that I'm able to work on them, right? So yeah.
What would you suggest? Because, like, obviously faith isn't an option for everyone, and not different people have a different relationship with God. And I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you're suggesting that everyone will find a relationship with God. Some people won't find God. You obviously were born a Catholic and stuff like this. But what you are talking about, preaching, so to speak, is about a connection to kind of wounds and healing trauma and stuff like that. Do you think that if someone doesn't follow God, that they can find that from just being introspective and looking within? Because what you're talking about is you've bottled things up for so many years, and my worry would be that there are a lot of young players who maybe are doing the same and bottling things. So things like therapy, or maybe other ways of being introspective. Is that something that you would advocate for as well? Because obviously faith's not an option for everyone, right?
I think it's important to have somebody you can confide in, and somebody who can be your pillar, and whether that's your family, or maybe a mentor, or maybe even a coach, right? If you have a good relationship, like, it can be anyone that can be of help to you, right? I mean, regarding the other thing, like, as you mentioned, I am not a preacher. I am just merely a flawed person.
The
like
reason I put that across is
so
because I think people, the danger is in what you said. They'd be like, "Oh, this is what he thinks everyone should do." But I think you probably would acknowledge that it's different journeys for different people, right?
100%. I mean, I do think by the end that we are all 70 or 80, everyone will be wondering, where you get your first big sickness in life. You'll be definitely questioning, whether there is a God or not. Because, I mean, that's a different topic, right? We're not here to discuss about that. That's just something to live in people's minds, We are all passengers in this journey of life. Like, none of us is living here forever. Not even you, Bill Gates.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, because one of the things that really intrigued me, and it kind of I personally relate to, so I wanted to talk to you about, is you talked about before your dad died, that was one of the first times you really got to know him, like, really well, and you learned a lot about him. I'm, from a family of, I'm the first person to kind of break that generational trauma cycle in my family of, like, being a man who doesn't talk about his emotions and has their kid not know anything about them. Like, my granddad passed away this year, and I think the biggest thing that was said at my funeral, kind of my dad was speaking about, that he didn't really know anything about his dad. And that kind of fucked me up a lot, if I'm honest. It made me really sad. I remember crying. I get emotional even talking about it now, because I feel like I don't know a lot about my dad either. If my dad died tomorrow, I don't think I know who he really is. And so that really moved me when I heard that. And I wondered if you could talk about what you learned about your dad, because it seems that you came really close by the time he was passing away and died.
I wouldn't even say that we came that close.
You learned more about him.
We definitely got closer than we were before. It's just because, I mean, it's like, again, I could speak about this for hours, because it's very complex. But, like, I didn't spend that much time. My parents were working a lot, and building a house and all that, and like, my dad had to do instructions as well, like, after school, to earn extra money so he can, like, provide for family and all those other things. Like, I was very rebellious of parents as well. I was a difficult child to raise, I would say. And a lot of things that came into mind is why I didn't have that maybe close of relationship with him, right? And also, he was a hard person by himself. He came from a family that didn't, like, show him a lot of love, right? Or affection, I would say. Affection is maybe the better way. And I know he loved me a lot, and he would, like, message me a lot, and I would speak to him. But basically, as he passed away, all those traumas about my relationship with my father came to bite me, right? I mean, to bite me, like, to attack me, to haunt me, whatever you want to say, right? So this is something that I had to get through. I had to get through with my inner self, right? To go into my true depth of me and handle that, because as mentioned, I know a lot of people that they don't go over their losses and they don't like let go, and they don't how do you say, they keep people too close for too long, right? And life keeps moving on, and again, it's just a journey, and I'm very grateful for all the experiences that I had.
It sounds like, and this is a really difficult question and potentially triggering in some ways, but it's always intrigued me, is you talk about how a lot of what made you the best is this sense of egoism. There's a degree of narcissism that comes with it, like ego, thinking you're amazing, the results backing that up, the results propping you up to believing you can be the best in the world. You talk about leaving the idea of idolization of Faker. In some ways, Faker would have been like a god for you when you were more atheist, and you left him behind in some ways. When you found
Sure.
faith, when your dad died, did it make it difficult for you in terms of playing? Because previously, what propped you up was this ego, and it sounds like you experienced a true ego death after the loss of your dad. Would it be fair to say, or is it the case that maybe you became a better person, but it became harder to be the same elite level player you were before?
Mm, that's a fair question, because it's like I didn't have that many good years after, right? I mean, I did have 2020 and 21. 2020 spring was, I think, one of my, maybe, I think it was my best regular split of my career as mid lane.
Hmm.
And again, I was again this close to MVP, but Jankos got it, I think. Always my junglers getting divided, always them getting it. Maybe that's something says something about me as well, right? So when I played Milan and Cups 80, I was super fucking good. I definitely had, I don't think I had competition that split, to be honest. That was just before the big come up of Humanoid. Like he was still, I don't think he was that good back then. To be fair, I did think he became very good the year after I left to NA. But that year I didn't really feel like I had. When I was playing Milan, I didn't really feel like I had competition. To be honest, I really felt like I was above the other mid laners that split.
Just to circle back,
So
just to circle back to the question, because I think it's just such an interesting exploration for me. In regards to like that loss of ego in some ways and becoming closer to God, like how did it change the player you were? Like, I guess, or do you
I
feel
mean,
like it didn't really have an impact?
it's still as a competitor. Like as a competitor, you need to have ego, right? You still need to
For
have
sure.
ego. That it's just about better balance. It's like I started believing more that everything I have and everything that all the talents that I have and the success I had was given to me by God. It's not by my own will and by my own hands and my own brain power is that I got what I got. Because why would it be? Why know what I mean? It doesn't make sense, right? It's like I became a lot more grateful for my teammates, for my career, for the success I have, for the story for the journey I'm taking part of, right? It's just that at the end of the year, like I had to be leaving because of the things that I experienced, and because I personally, I would have maybe been fine playing ADC, but they also removed duo Q. Like it was like a lot of factors that were best for my personal growth and myself as person to take my story elsewhere. If that makes sense. With what I mentioned again, my father passing away in that summer, like all of those things, like I needed a change of surroundings, atmosphere, whatever. And also, I mean, to add one more thing, like I was very, I mean, I skipped ahead a bit now, because I just added on things, right? But because that was gonna be next for sure, is I also wanted to see my value, right, of money value, right? Because in the end of the day, like careers are passing, and I was super grateful to have been at the top for as long as I have, because not many can say that anyone besides Caps in Europe cannot say that. So that's like something that's very rare, right? So I'm very grateful for that, and I think I got the best of it, right? In that sense as well,
Sure.
basically.
Do you did you what was I going to ask? Sorry, because one of the things I always hear about you that always confuses me is that everyone that knows you personally always talks about how kind and kind of caring you are in terms of like checking up on them and taking people out. It sounds like you really inherited the role that Deficio took for you back then, and you've kind of learned from that, and you do that for other people now, which is really sweet to learn from. Did faith and this experience have an impact on that? Because it seemed like you've always been a person that was like loving but toxic, but it seemed after that point maybe was when you were a little bit more kind of. It seemed like you had a bit more of a caring relationship for people. Would that be fair to say? Is that it shaped you in some ways in that
100%. I
regard?
think I definitely changed as like on my teams afterwards. I think I was definitely a bit different. It's like I just always wanted to make sure that everyone on the team feels good and is able to work on themselves and work towards the final goal together. And yeah, while I mentioned summers 2020 was emotionally hard, after I went to C9, let's say I went back to that kid, that the class clown, because that was what was needed in C9. Like I took a really big step back in leading the direction of the team, even though I had to towards the end of the year. I took more on it again. But I was on C9, I was basically almost a complete opposite of what I was in G2. Like I would not really point out the mistakes and see what we had to work on, because they already had like so much of their own issues they had to work on. So I was more of a guy who was trying to lift the mood up and make sure that I am performing well and lifting the mood up while people work on their issues, instead of like being an extra pain in the ass on pointing the things down.
It's quite beautiful in some ways, because one of the first things we talked about in this interview is kind of how life is a circle in some ways, right? Like you started off in the Go for Lols, and now you're trying to set up your own Go for Lols with your new business venture. And it's also interesting to hear kind of the way you describe G2 as being this place where you were this leader for so long, and potentially you needed that change of scenery after your dad passed away, of not being that kind of protector, that guardian, and you were able to go back to your own kind of childhood in some ways by being more of that class clown on C9. It's quite interesting to hear just like how things are so like cyclical in your career in some ways. I really enjoyed listening to that. I'm conscious of obviously time, because I think you need to go in about 7 minutes, right?
Actually, I can go at 7:30, so it's okay. We can go a bit
Okay,
more.
wicked,
Yeah,
wonderful,
yeah.
amazing. In which case, that's completely thrown me off, because I was basically thinking about how to wrap to make sure that you can
Yeah.
go. I wanted to ask a little
No,
bit
just
more.
finish it today.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask about just give me a little bit of a second. I'm gonna go take a water break, because you took one or two, and then it will allow me to recollect my thoughts, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. You'll have to entertain my chat.
The 10 shots. I think I need to get water as well. Hello, chat, everybody. My chat and DonJake chat. I need to open both chats. I'm doing great. Great. I went to gym this morning, and I went to Muay Thai yesterday. Favorite team in all time. I would not be fair, man. It would not be fair to just point one out. All of them, man. I love all of them. I love all of them. 2017 G2 and 2019 G2 still, hold special space, special place. Wait, wasn't the WSD supposed to come out today? What is your new business? It's a PC Bank franchise.
I've
So
returned.
basically, we sell franchises of. I'm just shortly saying what
No,
I
do
do.
your thing,
Like
do your thing.
we have PC gaming cafes, and what we do is like we don't open each of the location that exists on the planet, but we sell the license, we sell the software and the operating support to open them up, and then people who have capital and business experiences. Now we expanded so much that we only sell more units. So let's say somebody right now bought a license for Austria to open 40 locations in Austria in the next 5 years. And, this is how we're going to have it in 10 countries next year. And, obviously we hope to scale it more and more. And it's what we spoke about earlier, like a place where young kids can, feel safe, do their own thing together on high-end PCs and good gear and very, very good conditions inside, right? And give back a bit of what we take and also scale a business to a high end.
Cool.
That's it. We can move on now.
Move on. That's always good. I hope you open one in the UK. I'll be visiting for sure, depending on where it is.
For sure,
in London.
It will open. Yeah. I don't have locations yet for UK. It's tough.
The way that the UK works is basically London is like civilization, and then everything else is it's like a Game of Thrones. So
from what I heard, I think that would work very well in like not London, as well, like Manchester, Birmingham, etc. Like
oh god,
some more community cities or like smaller cities. They're not that small, but they are smaller than London, right?
Fair. I wanted to go back to just as we kind of round out the G2 stuff. Just because I'm just interested in learning about it more, because like I said, I've got a personal connection to this with my relationship with my dad. I guess I wanted to ask a little bit more, just like what you came to understand about your dad in like those final months, because you mentioned in the article back a few years ago about getting like not getting you kind of corrected me, not closer, but like learning more about him. What did you learn about your dad?
Wait a second. I mean, to be honest, my dad was not very open, so at that point, since I knew, it was probably gonna be his last times on Earth, I started trying to get more out of him, and started taking initiative and getting to know him, right? But it's not like he would just share things of himself just because that's not how he was, right? So I don't really know what exactly I learned of him, but from him at that time. But definitely I learned a lot about our family and what he had to do to provide for our family and what he had to do to raise us and all the obstacles that he overcame in life to make sure that I can have the life that I have, right? And that's something that I really respect, obviously, right? Because my life is regarding, let's say, those materialistic physical work or whatever, like time spent a lot less painful than his was, like I did what I enjoyed to do all the times. It's not like he didn't enjoy that. It's just like, as a professor, you can earn 1K a month, and you have to raise a family of 5. It's like very fucking difficult, like as a kid growing up, I really didn't have, I mean, I had everything I needed, but like if I had to compare myself, and comparison is the killer of joy, right? Like I would compare myself with other kids, and I would not be able to get, maybe the newest Legos or whatever. Like I wouldn't be able to have a good PC or like
that makes
all
the
these
story
things,
that you told about. It makes the story you told about making 1K doing boosting. It makes it even crazier, right? Like you must have.
Yeah.
You probably were earning more than your parents were when you were like 14 or something, or comparable.
Close to, right? Yeah. I wasn't boosting. I was only boosting for a few months, but yeah, I was learning this. I was earning the same as them. Yeah. And I was crazy. Boosting, right? Yeah. So my first salary was like 2 times their money together. So it was like my first salary, a 17-year-old, like, and they are doing this their whole lives and finish colleges for this. Like it's not comparable, right? Like this is like I've had it in that sense. I've had it a lot easier, right? And in some different senses, I also have it hard, but it's just it's a very big line of everything. Like some things are hard, some things are easy. Some to outside my life seems very easy to somebody because I'm playing video games and they see this news of the contract I got at C9 and oh my god, this rich spoiled kid, but like to me as a person who's living my life is like only I know what of all the struggles that not even my teammates who lived with me every single day had to go through in my head to get to the point where I am, to get to the point where I can say safely that I feel like I am very, very emotionally stable grown-up person, where like I've had so many hardships in my life that I don't pity, that I actually would hate if somebody pitted, that I don't dwell on, that I don't cry about, like I can even talk about the loss of our baby that we lost, because I am healed about that, even though it still hurts sometimes. Like it's like so many things that I can speak about that maybe somebody else would not even say a single word, a single letter of it, because they are scared of it, or they're not over it, or
You
like
make it you
this
make
is
it sound easier than it was, and I'm worried that people would maybe get away from that. But it seems that you had to do a lot of crying to get to this point. A lot of
oh
even
100%, yeah,
a lot of like
100%, yeah.
kind of healing those inner wounds and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
100%. Yeah, so many. Like man, sometimes I cried so much that I would think, shit, I was starting to wonder, like, did I get some fucking estrogen injected in my body, or what? Why am I crying so much? Yeah, like I definitely cried a lot, and honestly, crying helps. Like, crying helps. Crying 100% helps. Like, I think
Was it hard
when
for
you
you? Because just
cry.
even in the way that you came off there, like it's such like the way that you told that joke is such like a Balkan joke to me, and I think so much of that kind of culture is kind of wrapped up in kind of quite intense masculinity. Was it hard for you growing up in like a family of older brothers and like a dad that like wasn't emotionally giving over that much? Like, is it hard to be in touch with emotions and feelings, and how hard was it with you to get over that? Because so much of your cultural bias and what you grew up in presumably would have made it hard to get in touch with some of these like inner wounds and your inner child and crying and stuff like this.
Oh, hard to say. I mean, there is definitely something in Balkan culture that's like uh against crying. I don't know. It's a difficult question to answer. Like, I don't really have a good answer for it, to be honest. Yeah,
That's fair. Maybe it's something to reflect on.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting though, for sure.
Maybe just the way the culture and the surroundings around
I
you
don't
with
think
all
it's
the
just. I don't
people
think
and
it's
kids
just
growing
culture. I
up.
think. I think
Yeah.
men in some ways are very much like primed to like not be very much in touch with their emotions, and I think it's a overwhelmingly positive that you've been able to like via the gift. I think crying is a gift. Like it's something that I can't do. Like I'm at a point in my life where like I think I've cried maybe 3 times in the last 5 years. And every time I do cry, it feels like I'm crying for 3 years worth. I think there are a lot of people that exist in current.
Oh, I cried so much last month. You can't even imagine.
Yeah,
I cried every single day.
and
I
it's
was
and it's good because it
drowning
frees.
in
I think
tears.
it frees everything in your soul, right? Like it kind of releases
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, it does. You feel the pain releasing 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people
Yeah.
experience that inability to do so because I think a lot of people are very numb to emotions. So I think in
Think
bringing us,
so?
I think so. I think
Perhaps,
lots of
yeah.
people experience numbness for sure with the whole way that like social media works and the internet. I
The way the
think.
modern world.
Sorry.
Maybe. Maybe, yeah. No, go ahead.
I wanted to ask a small detail here, it's just because I find it funny. It was mentioned in this article where they interviewed you about this thing. This is where I got all the stuff about talking about your dad. You mentioned maybe it's a misquote by them, and maybe it's not something you'd want to cop to, but you sort of talk about giving up marijuana, which is like something you were doing to escape stress. Is that true?
Yes, yes, that is true. I used to smoke marijuana. It feels funny to say the word because I was always weed.
Yeah, you smoke
So I
weed.
used to smoke weed, definitely. And it's like, I mean, everybody does their own thing. I don't judge people who smoke. It's like, because I used to do it, that would be very, I mean, I don't judge anybody for anything,
Were you like smoking? Like when were you smoking? Like when you were a pro player? Like just during off season or like?
Uh, well, I was smoking mostly during off season. When I was smoking, I was smoking season 8 of season. I was definitely lighting up a joint every day. I'm fine talking about it now. Like I would go to Waffle Brothers.
There's not any. Just to say, you haven't.
Me
You
and
didn't.
my bro, me and my bro after would go to Waffle Brothers, order one in there, order one for home. It was like completely degenerate behavior, but like I'm over it, though. So it's like those degenerate behavior just makes me laugh. But like I honestly, if I saw someone smoke every day, I would probably give him a slap. Like just don't do it. Like if you smoke regularly, it's like okay, but if you smoke every day, like I mean, even regularly is not okay. To be fair, like let's just don't smoke.
If you smoke every day, you're just a degen. Like you're legit. You're just because I know. You're so unproductive. You're so lazy. You forget where your things are. You like I don't know. I would leave my phone in the toilet, and I wouldn't know where it is, and it's just in the toilet. You know, like you're so degen, and you're so lazy, and your reactions are so shit, and everything. Like it's just such a bad drug, to be honest, because it also makes you just dumber long term, like legit. Like it's the drug is like it makes you feel like, because how I always describe it, my personal experience of it is like when I'm high on weed, like I would feel like I went back to my childhood days when I had no worries. You know, like let's say I would feel like I'm emotional like 5 years old, and you know, like fucking eating food and munching food is like so delicious, and you know, just
you also think that you're like everything is way deeper than it is.
Yeah, just like speaking with friend about I don't know a TV show. It feels like you're speaking like rocket science, you know, or something. Like it's like everything is like, and that's just such a fake. The problem is that it gives you like, the problem is it fucks you up psychologically, you know, like it fucks you up psychologically. So that when I know when I stopped smoking, like when you're not high and there's stress comes, you think, oh, maybe I should light up a joint, you know, or
and you said in 2019 off season,
oh,
so 2019
food tastes better when you're high, you know. All
so
these
in
things.
2019 like, G2, which is the year that you won MSI, were you dealing with like weed withdrawals or like thinking during stress times?
No. I would never smoke during season.
No, but like the fact that you were smoking a lot during the off season, and you said in times of stress you would think about it.
So now I sound like I was fucking Wiz Khalifa, because I saw someone writing in chat. I was not Wiz Khalifa. I would smoke for like, I would still sort of control myself. Like I would smoke for 2 weeks and I would stop, you know, or like we would buy like 5 grams, I would smoke it and I would stop. You know what I mean?
I didn't think you were Wiz Khalifa. It just sounded like maybe because I know from
I was never like, even when I would feel like I was degen, I was never that degen, because I know I have friends who are like,
just to clarify what my question was, I wasn't saying or implying anything like that. It was more so anyone who smokes any quantity of weed, me being someone that also smoked weed in the past, when you stop doing it, you still do get like some elements of paranoia and stuff like that. And I wondered, because you were smoking in 2018, during 2019, were you experieing any side effects?
I didn't have that. No, I mean, to be honest, I would sometimes smoke. I would sometimes smoke during the split, but very, very rarely. Like maybe like 2 weeks before playoffs or something. But I was never smoking alone, to be honest. I'm not, because I'm speaking about myself. I'm not gonna incriminate other people. I used to smoke with, but you know, I was not smoking by myself in the esports, right? Also, I think smoking by yourself is a sign of degeneracy as well, to be honest. Like, at least if you're like weed, please do it in social environment.
Well, to be fair, in terms of the 2019 World Final, when you lost to FPX, I'm hoping that some marijuana was involved, because Jesus Christ.
Unfortunately, since in summer, I think I only smoked once. There was like this 1 week I was just so burnt out. I got some weed and I smoked a bit, and after it was like week, whatever, 4 or 5. I would never ever smoke during playoffs. I would never smoke before international events, and I never felt any withdrawal regarding that.
Let's move on. Let's move on from the drug talk, because I feel like I'm the DEA right now. But I wanted to ask you just plainly.
I feel like I'm getting interrogated, but yeah, I didn't smoke since. Yeah.
I didn't think anyone cares, right? I smoked a lot of weed in my life. But in any case, I wanted to ask you, because I've asked so many members of G2, and I've asked Mickey this, you know, I've asked other players, why do you think you lost 2019 World Finals? Put it plainly.
Actually, these comments are actually laughing me. Wonder is 100%. I will just leave it at that, by the way. I will leave it at that, even though it may not be true.
You've done enough for Wunder's reputation. Yeah. You've done enough in this interview. You told us about him pissing on someone. You told us about...
True.
Just leave him alone. Plainly, I want to hear it just plainly, because, you know, it's so much time ago now, and you're done. Why did you lose? Why did you lose the finals?
I said this a lot. I'm going to say it very shortly. I think we lost because we got in over our heads. And let's say if you reverse the roles, season 10 was season 9, season 10 would have won roles, if that makes sense. With the experience that we had, like, it was like our first moment together of a very, very long year. MSI, summer right after, Rift Rivals, summer playoffs, Insta Worlds. Like, it was very, very, very long year. And also I'm thinking like if we had somebody, how teams sometimes get like now assistant coaches for like events for like summer playoffs or tournament or worlds, or if you have somebody who came outside of our bubble that we had the whole year and told us, guys, maybe practicing Pike against Nautilus 1v1 Midland Wunder and Cups, this is not the best way to prepare for world finals. That would have been probably also a way to go. And if we just stuck to our drafts and stuck to what we were good at, because we got so in over our heads.
You overcooked and then you overcooked.
Yeah. We tried to think what they are good at and how we counter that, because that's how we played that's how we always approached every opponent. That was like our biggest strength. We would like analyze opponent and always fuck them in draft, fuck them in game. Like we knew how to do that very well. But we tried to do it with FPX, and we were so deep in their sauce and all that things, and we just
can't get lost in the sauce, man.
Yeah, we got very lost in the sauce. So I legit, like all of the other losses I had internationally, I don't have any regrets. I mean, this one, it's not like I have regrets. I'm just saying, like, that definitely could have been a different result. I don't think FPX was a better team than us, and I will die on this hill, legit. Like, Damwon, different story, even though we even took a game of it, But like FPX, like this should have never been a 3-0 for them, ever.
Is this a thing where, like, say for example, you play the series 10 times, how many times do you think you win it?
If we are in that mindset, 0.
Of course,
if
but
we
like
are in a healthy
speaking.
mindset, let's say if we are in a mindset that we were not in and we are like in a normal mindset, I think 7 out of 10. Legit, I think 7 out of 10.
And how did you feel about DonJake? Because like Nemesis, like famously, like was criticizing him at that tournament. Didn't think he was that great, and then obviously he went on and won it. Do you think that DonJake was like was great, or what was your evaluation?
DonJake was the reason why they won tournament.
Okay.
Like he was insane. He was just not great in traditional sense of things, of like laning and like how do you say, how usually you would value a mid laner, but like he played his own style and he won worlds. Like who else can say they did exactly that, against all odds in a way, I mean, against all odds, they were definitely not the favorites to win worlds, sort of to say. I think they were like, I mean, honestly, when you look at it, they were probably like one of the worst worlds winners, that like how people would perceive them, and I think that's fair to say. You would put Damwon any T1 iteration ever, DRX, legit, I don't know, anyone who IG, you would put anyone who won worlds over that team, no?
Apart from maybe season 1 Fnatic, right? But
sure, yeah, I'm speaking about season 3 onwards, like, or season 5 onwards.
You didn't count TPA? Come on, man.
No,
Toys,
I just don't. I
some
just
legends,
think that old school. I mean, honestly, I would say season 5 onwards, because I think. I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, it's like whatever. It doesn't matter.
Sure. One of the questions I wanted to ask
you get my consensus.
Of course,
about it,
of course. No. One of the questions I wanted to ask you is that because Europe is in such a kind of a crisis, and it feels like, I mean, the gap isn't. I think the way that people look at like the gap widening or lessening, I don't even think it's like the right way of looking at it. It's just like the way I look at it is, we had a shot in 2019. It doesn't seem like we're gonna have a shot ever again. But if Europe was to have a shot, from your perspective, obviously as someone that kind of, to put it plainly with you weren't an elite force in the latter years of your career. You kind of had like a denouement for sure. Like there was a downward trend. But at your peak,
sure,
you were you were like a massive asset towards European teams being strongest. And you're a major part of the reason that Europe won an international and was in a world final. What do you think that Europe lacks now, if you watch them at Worlds or just in general for the ecosystem? Because you were part of the ecosystem, even in some of your teams, where you did have a decline in skill in some ways. But what would you say Europe lacks nowadays?
Hard to say. I don't know. I think general, whole Europe, looking at whole Europe, I think they lack roster building. I think G2 is very good at that, to be honest. And honestly, I was very surprised that the last year G2 did not, do something. It was a bit unlucky as well, but they had a lot of internal issues. I know that much, but like, to be honest, like looking at skill of teams, like I think that G2 roster with Hans and Miki, like should have definitely been able to do something at an international event, like.
What do you think their ceiling was?
I don't know. Top 4, maybe top 4 at best. I think shot at winning worlds was not real, but at least top 4 would be enough to give Europe some sort of hopium, right?
Yeah.
I think hope is that matters. As of right now, it's hard to say. I think Europe is, in general, lacking of talent. I don't know why. That's crazy, right? I might have to elaborate on this, right? Let's say when I look back at the years, like season 6, with a lot of players coming in, season 7 as well. Like, I mean, fuck it, even like Caps and Hans are from season 7, Alfari, like Wunder, me, Miki, season 6, Jankos year before or 2, or, and even like season 9 with the resurgence, we had like Larsen, Humanoid, Nemesis, some other names I'm for sure forgetting, right? But in the last few years, I feel like you can name players on top of your head on like one hand that are like, I feel like are like making an impact in Europe League of Legends, like, and I could be wrong. So I don't know what's up with that or how to fix that. Like, but like, I just don't feel like they've had like much talent to be very excited about, and I don't know why that is. So like, don't hold me on that, or don't like. It's like what on top of my hand is like, yeah, I can G2, Qmond, and Kalist. Is it like
those are 3 names that come to mind?
this is like, I mean, and Kalist I think has been in terms of raw talent, my favorite one. I think he's very, very talented.
What do you think of
Even
Vladdy? Because he's quite raw. He's going.
Oh
he's off the
yeah,
flag.
Vladdy. I forgot about Vladdy. I think Vladdy is also good talent. Yeah.
But he's not quite on that.
I
Kalist
wouldn't.
level.
I wouldn't put. I mean, just when you're looking at, how do you say it? It's like hard to compare, but like I think definitely Kalist is like the most talented one of the. When you compare his, I mean, it's so hard to say. Like he's pure mechanics, like pure clicking, like eye test, right? But yeah, I mean, we went really off topic, but
I think it's all related.
it is maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't really know. Like I haven't given it my thoughts, so you kind of caught me off guard with just like pure raw thoughts, but they're not really filtered or understood why I think, how I think, and what is the reasoning behind that.
I guess maybe to bring it back more to something that's central to your knowledge is what do you think what do you think you brought to like G2, for example? Because it's not just that you were like a good player. Direction is the thing.
Yeah.
And talk to me more about that, because that's something that maybe is lacked. Like a figure like you is probably rare to come by in a team.
You could say that. I think that's fair to say. I think it's a rare thing to have somebody like give your team a direction. And even again, I don't have all the info, but you hear things over the years, and even like coaching stuff, like I don't think we have in Europe a lot of direction from coaching staff, especially, or the direction that we have is perhaps not the one that is the most viable one, to be honest. I mean, I don't know what is the reason, right? Like I can say from my POV, even with C9, like, okay, my last 2 years on Vitality were unfortunately not fruitful, to be honest. And I feel so bad about that, because especially in 2022, I felt like I was really actually in my peak.
Really?
So it feels really sad to not be able to have any fruitful results of 2022. But yeah, I think direction is in general lacking.
I wanted to ask you something, because it seemed like when you're on G2, this kind of element of kind of being what I would call kind of the kind of perhaps at times impoliteness that comes with being like high level success in like an entrepreneurial corporate sense. Like you kind of were like, getting in people's faces at times and holding them accountable and being that kind of like hard taskmaster at work with people. And you, like you say, like some people on the team needed it and they thanked you for it. But it seemed like maybe you tried to do the same thing when you joined like a team like Vitality or Heretics, and it seemed to have completely not worked in some sense. I wondered if you could comment on that, if you think that's inaccurate.
I don't think that's accurate. No,
Okay.
I think why I mentioned my peak on Vitality is because I really feel like I was in peak form as a teammate and as a player.
Okay.
In C9. In C9, I worked a lot on my individual laning as well, to be, able to be on par with likes of Chovy and stuff, like the new generation's mid that I haven't faced before, right? Because I screened against them in Worlds, and I think my performance was very solid. I felt very happy with my skill level, like I felt that I was keeping, I felt like I'm Faker and I'm keeping up with all these youngers, younger players, the younger generational players that are coming up, right? And then I was hoping when I went to EU that I would be able to show that. And it was just unfortunate that the team was just not built in the best possible way for the success of the team. Rather, it was built for the maybe best possible players you could get, but not the best possible team chemistry roster you could get.
Because Bo was a player that you played with, right? And I presume that you would have had some sort of input towards that.
That's 23. I'm talking about 22 right now.
Ah, yes, I'm wrong on that. Yeah. This is self-made and then Haru, right?
Oh, yeah. And to be honest, we had a lot of potential. I mean, funnily enough, like the results were fucking dog shit, right? But at both years, 22, 23, like we had a point of the time where Vitality was number 1 on the table of LEC. So it's just very sad and honestly unexplainable. I mean, explainable, but I'm not gonna explain them. Crash outs of Team Vitality, which is why, people even like saying the org is cursed, like, they're legit, just might be something into it. Like they just can't win. Like,
is there like some spooky supernatural
stuff? If this year they have no success at all, just legit disband the team and sell the slot. Like, because I think they have a decent team for this year. I do think they should be aiming for top 4. They should be aiming for success.
Do you think that there's like a supernatural element to it because you're a religious guy? Do you
think I don't know. No, I don't know. I to think definitely there were like so many things that are so out of control. It's of my control, or even like coach control. They just happen to happen.
Are you capable of? Are you able to name any of them, or you don't want to get into it?
No. I out of respect for people I've worked with and the parties involved, I would prefer distancing myself from this conversation.
That's fair enough. One of the things that you spoke about in your original interview is that you felt that there might be a degree of resentment from teammates at this time just because of how much money you were earning. Do you think that was a contributing factor? Because this was like a super team and you were being paid a lot of money, right?
No, 2022, I don't think so, because trust me, everybody was getting paid a lot. Like, everyone was getting paid way more than they should, It was like fucking GTA money hack that year. And then, of course, the year after, since we sucked, it was like all, mega cuts. So, but to be honest, it's just like, again, approach of certain individuals on that team was not to win. Was really not to win. So yeah. But to be honest, I will give praise where praise is due. I will really say I think Labro was like the best teammate I worked with on that team. I really liked Labro and I had a lot of hope in him. And for some reason, Vitality got rid of him in the rebuild as well. Where I was like very confused because he was with them for 3 years and they didn't have success and they just like cut him. I mean, let him go. But that was very strange to me because he would have been the first person to resign for me. So yeah,
that's fair. I wanted to because I've been very kind and I think obviously like we have a relationship in that like we've been friendly with each other and whatnot. And as a journalist, I need to be difficult with you at some points. One of the things you said earlier is you're not the kind of person that would ever like flame teammates over like Skype or something like this. And there was a rumor at one point on this team that Neon told a story about how he found you like shit talking him on Discord next to you. How true is this story?
I never shit talked Neon in my entire life. I don't know what he might have seen a message of me talking to Upset and then he said it in rage or whatever, but I have never shit talked him. No.
So like, it's not a true story.
It is true. No, I mean, I did speak with Upset. That is true part of the story. Yes, 100%. Right. And he might have saw a message with Upset and he might have saw Upset DM open on PC. Right. And then he got replaced by Upset, so he connected the dots. He's obviously not, like there is truth in that, right? 100%. I don't deny that. But I've never shit talked him, no. And to be honest, it's just like, I mean, it's, it feels bad, but it's like our scrims were like so fucking like unplayable, to be honest. Like we had no direction from botlane, either of them, and it was like everybody agreed on this. Like it's like, it feels like I am the one guilty for all this, but it's like, we had like 3 coaches, like we have managers, we have CEOs who decide on these things, right? It's who make the calls, like, and we were supposed to be getting Upset. We were supposed to be taking Upset in the off season before we signed Neon, but Fnatic was asking like they were jailing Upset again. Like they were asking for some enormous amount of money. Like I don't want to go into all details. There were like some drama, and then they were jailing him, and then we couldn't get him. And then after some point, they agreed to like release him for like very, very low amount of money. That was like that time, right? So I got asked by like the higher ups, it's like, if we should do it, and I said, yeah, we probably should do it. And honestly, we probably should do it. Like I don't feel bad about that. I feel bad about how he perceived it and how it looked. But like when you're a teammate in a high competitive environment and you're getting fucked every day, of course you want to make in a format that's very, very punishing, like super fucking punishing. Of course, like a lot of other teams have been doing how do you call
mid-season changes?
Mid-season changes, right? So it's like I don't know, it's competition, it's life competition. Like I got benched the year after, right? You see, like, so I got benched for different reasons, but about that, yeah. So yeah, it's like I feel bad about it, and everyone makes it out to be like I'm some kind of evil superhuman, whatever, super villain, what I wanted to say. It's like, but it's really not like that. And like, I do feel bad about it, but it's just like I don't know,
For you, for you, it's an element of
I feel like everybody, every team that would make that, like Upset just came off like 2 of his best years of his career. Like we are looking at, even when fucking Reddit and community were calling Upset the best EULCS ADC, like it's like such a it's such an easy change to make, like it's, I don't know, like I don't know why I got so much shit for that, and it's not even my decision on its own, right? Everybody on the team wanted to do it and wanted to get him. So it's like feels very unfair to blame it all on me when I'm thinking our team's best interest and what is going to give us the best chance to win. And like if none of the botlane is talking and working together on their mistakes, and then I'm getting shit for it after, I don't really feel like it's fair as well. So that's what I have on that. Yeah,
I suppose another thing that you get a lot of shit for.
But I will add on that though, to be honest, to be fair, is like, because I mentioned before and that didn't come true. I've said that none of my teammates, like Neon is the only player who got replaced on I was on team of that didn't get replaced for just like, how do you say, motivation issues or perform, or like, it was just, he was the only one who didn't deserve it, if that's how he plays it. Like he didn't
deserve being replaced.
Yeah. Okay. In that sense, yeah.
That's a good clarification.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, because it's another thing that you get shit for, and potentially rightfully so, depending on what your response would be or what other people might say. But I wanted you to allow offer your perspective. Kind of Peter Dun said a lot of things about you running down scrims on Heretics and kind of your behavior on that team and how it affected the environment and stuff like this. And he mentioned in a post about you being the one that kind of went to upper management and wanted to get Kaiser out, for example, at the time. How would you, like, what's your like POV on this time in Heretics? Because I know you had a pretty bad relationship with Aranea, famously, right?
First of all, I didn't even know he went out and said those things. That's pretty crazy. From
let me double check that that's true.
To do such things, and I am honestly mind blown that he even went and said those things, because I could go and say that he was like, doing some things that he shouldn't be doing, and not being really. But I will not say things about him like he said about me, right? Even though like I would have a right to. So I don't know what to say about that, about me running scrims down. I did ask our analyst Lopon for stats, and I did check that the
No, I
only
double
player
check
who
my
had,
source. It is he said it on
I
a podcast
remember,
with
I
Torment.
remember, because I remember when I was on the team, I went for our stats, and I was the only player who had like positive goal difference or DPM compared to other laners in LEC, like damage delta, whatever, like at in lane and in after lane. Like so, I don't know. Like it's potentially true that there's been games where I lost focus and I lost screams and I made mistakes that I shouldn't have been making. But to say that, to have such a statement, such strong, when I remember checking my stats and I remember looking at, comparing my teammates' stats.
I think to quote
towards
exactly
other-
what he said, Perkz would, or not exactly, but a paraphrasing of what was said, it was, but you would get angry if things didn't go your way and you'd run down scrims. In total, 18 scrims, although Peter wants to be generous to Perkz and say at least 10 of these scrims Perkz ran down because he was tired or something. And basically the idea would be that you would, if you thought that a draft didn't work, you would basically sometimes you would play badly and then reinforce that as like evidence for the fact that the idea was bad.
Okay, I mean
when
that's fair.
Okay, yeah.
I think there is some truth to that. I think I'm 100% potentially subconsciously be doing that, but it's also because there's no way to play this nicely. Like their fucking drafting idea was just horrible, right? And the way to approach those drafts was like we had a complete weird environment in Heretics, like no other team before. And I will say that Heretics was definitely like 100% my worst time ever, like in my whole career. And it felt like I went 10 years back with our structure, our prep, our talks. Like it felt like I went back to 2016, and no wonder there was shit the whole year, even after I left. So to be honest, and even though they actually had also like decent roster, right? So to be honest, like
Here's an interesting question.
It's really hard to say anything positive about that because we split up on such a bad note, and this is the only part of my career I truly regret. I went to Heretics and I knew it was gonna be bad before, and I actually have a literal proof of saying that because I had spoken to Peter Dun and to Arnea, and I had a feeling that we would not be a good fit together.
Why did you do it then?
I would not work because I was hoping, like I guess, I mean, I had offer from SK with a decent roster, but I didn't have many good offers. Like I didn't have any, I mean, that looked like a good offer, right? I didn't really have that great offers after finishing on 10th on Vitality, right? And I didn't want to stay on Vitality because of the reasons I said before. Even though looking back in hindsight, I would have probably preferred staying on Vitality. But like we just finished 10th, like it's like I would have preferred, and there were some things happening in the org that I'm not gonna disclose, but I wanted to change it up and try somewhere else. Definitely my last split on Heretics is the most regretful one because it's easy to say in hindsight, but first of all, I should have never done it. Second of all, I would say I was a bit burnt out from from the game, but I'll add on that now. It's like every year when you change so many players, so many rosters, and things are not working out, like you really start doubting yourself and your own approach, and you also like have to work on all the basics from ground up again. Like it's like you're building a tower, but you have to keep building it again with new people and new players. And I was hoping that with Wunder and Jankos we would have some of the things that we had before, but we really were restricted as well, and the whole structure stuff was horrible match with the players on the team. And like it's like I don't want to talk about it too much. It's just like I regret about it.
I wanted to ask you a question.
There is things I could have done different there, and to be honest, like what I regret is playing that winter, you know, like because I realized during that winter that I was actually, what I mentioned, burned out from all that grind and what was I chasing, you know, like I've already because I wanted to play, but in hindsight, I should have taken a break and perhaps join a team that I would have preferred joining in, you know, after winter in spring and just take a break because like I do think like even though I don't think that Heretics split was like as bad as people make me out to be. I had this one game with Azir that really scarred me, that really fucking ran it down. I was so out of it, and I knew after that game that like I should probably, you know, like I should try really hard for next split, and I was doing that, and then we had this like argument like legit 3 days before LC. Where like Arena he was a bit, how would I say this even nicely, like he was really like putting his nose in places where he shouldn't be putting his nose, and even to coach and stuff. And I was just so surprised that it's now that you mentioned Peter Dun would say something like this, when like he would complain to Arnea and about me personally, and he would, and Kirei as well, and like everybody would say that he's like he's very controlling, and even though he would just come there once every 2 weeks, but like he would just put his nose into everything. So it was like he wouldn't let people do their job, you know. And he was arguing with me about like where I should be placing a ward as a mid laner or something, and it didn't make any sense what he was saying. So after talking to him nicely for 10 minutes, I started raising my voice and I started like losing it because like, you know, I mean, a bit of ego that hit, you know, like do you know who you're talking to? Like this guy was a fucking failed, washed pro player that like never accomplished anything in his career, and he's like talking to me like that.
You're talking about Aranea here, right?
Yeah, and he's talking to me like that because he felt like he was like the GOAT of season 3 or something. You know, like it's like there was this ego battle that I see it now. That like he was like very controlling, and I think Heretics realized that soon after because Arnau is a great guy, and I really liked him. And Arena got cut a few months later. So I'm very sad that my career ended like that because I felt like with Trainby we would actually have a lot better chance of doing good. And to be honest, it feels a bit relieving talking about it because maybe I, you know, kept this a bit inside. So it also feels a bit relieving to share this out.
Well, I'm glad that you feel that.
While realizing that I was burned out, I also had really good mindset and you know, outlook on the next split, and also like to ego bench me 3 days before LEC starts, and to never invite him back when it's AD carry mid meta as well. It's like, and you know, then he got cut off, you know, in summer. So it's like it's like a weird thing that thing like this happens in 2024, you know. This happened last year. Like it's just a very weird thing. So yeah, that's basically, yeah.
I wanted to ask you because based on this, one of the interesting thing there is you said that being on Heretics made you feel like you were back in 2016. Did it give you a unique insight into like kind of what it must be like to be a team that isn't G2 or Fnatic in terms of being that like elite tier? Because it must just be like that for the teams that are like bottom of the pack, and kind of like an important part of the league is like having teams that push you consistently. Like in LCK, like they've got like 5 or 6 teams that are decent. It feels like in LEC consistently it's only 2 or 3 maybe. Did it give you an insight into like, oh wow, this is how far behind everyone else is?
I mean, it's just mostly Heretics that was like that.
Oh, it's specifically Heretics was like really bad.
I think Vitality was decent. It was just I cannot share some of the things. I really cannot.
We'll move on because I thought maybe it was more teams.
I don't want to
them,
do that. Even though it was just Heretics. It was just Heretics that was really specially built. And yeah, I don't know.
Sure,
that's
no worries.
That's all I have to say.
Kind of because I think we're going to be wrapping up soon. I wanted to talk about your wife because it seems like a very special. Obviously, it's your wife. It's a very special relationship to you. How did you meet her? And talk to me about like what she means to you in your life, because it seems to be one of the kind of core building blocks that kind of very much changed you as a person. Religion, your wife, and a few other things. So how did you meet? And yeah, talk to me about the relationship.
I met, like, we actually went to elementary school together.
Oh, that's so cute. Wow.
Yeah, and a few years ago in 2019, yeah, I got like back together. Maybe it was 2020. I got back together on like a elementary school reunion. There was like six people showed up, and I started hanging out with some people I hanged out with in the past, and I made like this group of, let's say, friends, like 6-7 of us that hanged out together. And it was very good because, you know, it was all like fun people, smart people. It was good company, and we used to hang out in the past. And one of the friends from the group was her, like her best friend of my wife. So kind of through her, I messaged her, and we went out for coffee, and then we kept talking, and then I went to Sina and we kept chatting. And then at some point throughout the year, I realized that like we have a lot of things in common. And like I could see, because I used to be, let's say, I used to be like friendly with her in elementary school, right? And I know her core as a person, so I know she knows my core as a person. And I always felt it would be very hard for me to find somebody who will, let's say, you know, marry me for who I am, like who is Luca, and not who Perkz is or what has Perkz achieved, or, you know, rather than who is me. So that was like a big factor of me choosing who I want to be with, right? And then obviously as we dated and as I got to know her, like a lot of the things from our childhood, like our let's say our core of us, who we are, like stayed similar. And it just we got to, you know, grow up and experience different lives and different things. So, and then of course we got married, and now after we celebrated 3 years 1 week ago, it's been like I can truly say that she's like my best friend as well, right? And I'm very grateful to have met her. Like I didn't even know like how strong she can be, and she's like she's great. She's great towards me. I love her so much, and we function very well together. Like I didn't know, you know, I didn't think that marriage could be so functional and so like nice and so supportive of, you know, like how do you say, like I feel like she allows me to be better human, you know, like she pushes me to be a better human while I work on my flaws and, you know, be able to provide and be a better like better person, better human. So yeah, that's like I really, I mean, honestly, like my brother at my wedding speech, at my wedding, he gave like a speech, and he said, like, you know, at some point I was worried if Luca would ever find somebody like who, you know, is gonna be good for him, right? And it's like I was, you know, when looking back at it, I was a bit worried too, you know, and it just happened. Like, I mean, you know, this is like where my faith comes in. Like, I prayed for her, you know, I prayed to get to find someone who will, you know, complement me, who will feel each other, right? So it's like it's amazing. Yeah, like I have nothing legit nothing bad to say about marriage or living together and all that, which I had a lot of concerns, to be honest. Like I moved out from 17, right? And it's like I lived my own life, you know, like I had my own thing, and I picked her up from her home, you know, to come live with me. So I obviously had a lot of concerns about how that's gonna be, about co-living, and that's great, yeah. And to be honest, I'll just say that I don't think like love on first sight or on first touch or whatever exists. It's more like love is a lot about committing and accepting, choosing, like something you choose, you accept it and you commit to that, you know, because like there's obviously been, I would say, in the first year, the first year of marriage, like there's been, you know, like issues we had to overcome. And but it's in a way, it's like I think my experience as a pro player in team environments actually gave me like a good start about working on issues, you know, like how to address issues, how to like how to work on things, how to improve myself, how to like, a lot of it is like, you know, like we are in the same team working towards the same goal, and we want to
Yeah.
live a fulfilling
Well,
life.
the way some of you guys argued on G2, you may as well have been a married couple, right? At some point.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, exactly. So I think, to be honest, a lot of like the life that I lived before that gave me a lot of experience and strength to really maintain our relationship while we get to know each other and while we get to learn about each other. Because I was also, like, as I mentioned, you know, like I was living alone, so I was very I wouldn't say I was not clean, because I was just untidy.
You're just a man. We're
So
just
I would,
men.
like, let's say, I would, like, my clothes would be anywhere. Like, it's like I would come home and I would, like, come here and it's hot in the room. Okay, I would take down my pants and just throw them there, like, just because it's like, what, I'm gonna pick them up in 3 days, whatever. Like, it's whatever, like, I'm gonna pick them up, like my towel. I mean, like, after a shower, who cares if my towel is on the bed or on the fucking chair or in the bathroom? Like, it's somewhere, like, there's like a lot of these things that, as a guy, like, you should, to be honest, work on. And it is true. I do feel better, as well, when I'm, when things are on their place and I clean up after myself. And it's just a habit you build, like, now when the kitchen is not clean, like, I'm actually very anxious because I want these things to be very clean, right? So,
and you want it to be clean for her, right? Like, that's another thing, right?
I mean, for myself as well. Like, when I was alone, like, I was now when she went on a trip with her family, like, I also was cleaning. You realize you feel more calm in your mind. Like, so there is like a lot of things. I mean, this is just some of the things I learned from her, right? Because that's what marriage is about. It's about, like, learning from each other.
For sure.
And
I
think because she could also learn a lot about from me because of the experience that I got at such a young age, that, like, I don't think many men can compare with. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, in terms of, like, you talked about being a better man because of marriage and for marriage and because of marriage, but so much of what you've talked about in this interview is about kind of overcoming traumas and breaking generational trauma, which is so difficult. Like, it feels often we're doomed to repeat what comes before us. So many people, and I'm sure it's something you've experienced in your life, it's something that's actually really a recurrent theme in these interviews. It's talking about those moments where you feel like, oh, fuck, I'm acting like my dad. Fuck, I'm acting like my mum. And it feels like you've come to a point now where potentially, in terms of being a father in the future, in terms of just the man that you are, you've broken a lot of these cycles. How has it changed you? Because you've gone from having a father that was potentially very emotionally avoidant to being someone that seems to be very full of love and not afraid to give it. I wondered if you could talk to me about those differences and if you feel like you've broken the cycle.
Very, very, very thorough question. Yeah, I definitely feel like I might have. Yeah, I think a lot of it will still stuck on you from parents, but I think a big misconception about life, and I have known from personal examples, like, let's say, kids blame their parents or blame somebody for something that they have or do not have in life. Let's say you are now 23 years old and you will blame your parents for not teaching you this, but you are 23 years old, so you are capable of teaching yourself anything you want to teach yourself. So a lot of people in the current day and time are avoidant of any how do I say this?
Culpability, accountability.
Yeah, sure. Any sense of self accountability that you should be having. Like, I think the better mindset to have is that nobody in your life, including your parents who might have fucked you up so bad, is like a reason for your problems. And, like,
sure, but I want to know, does Perkz presumably has this mentality of accountability, but are you able to act upon it? Like, do you feel like your love is a lot more accessible? And in terms of, if you were a father, do you feel like you're going to be like a dad that is just not, not like providing via structure, giving a lot more love to his kid directly, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I do think I am I am very, very loving, and I mean, it sounds funny, but I don't think I was very loving on the teams as well. Like I would always give my teammates a lot of attention and a
That to
lot
me
of
was the
like,
biggest thing I wanted to talk about in this interview, because
yeah.
it's like in direct kind of contrast to what people say about you. That's always what people tell me, is that you were like a very much a
Yeah.
loving person on teams. Obviously,
And
maybe not Heretics.
and I obviously, yeah, I feel very sorry to anyone that I haven't been loving towards or they felt like it, you know. But it's like I know there was like one thing I wrote to Cars and I told him like, I'm sorry, I regretted like taking you off the team. I mean, not taking you off the team. Like I voted. I mean, I voted to do a whole rebuild, but like he told me he understood, because like the way he was acting that year and the way he was approaching streams and, you know, not being on time, etc., 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 all of his mindset and like approach towards things were like not a representative of somebody who wants to win LEC or who wants to give his hardest to win LEC. So it's like, while I felt bad about it because I saw great potential in him, and that's why I vouched for him over any other prospect we were like looking at. Like he was the one player I really wanted to play with when we were joining Vitality, and you know, I felt bad about it. But it's like in the end, it's like I feel like I've given it all of my heart, you know, to that team, and I got, you know, sometimes everything you give is not good enough because it's things that are out of your control. That's one thing life
Love comes
learns
at
you.
a cost, so to say, right? Like
Yeah, like things really are out of control, and the way people behave and people approach things are, you realize in the end they're out of control. You can see, because looking back at it, I was grateful enough to have worked with people in the past that have been always very willing of listening to what I had to say and learning together with me, you know, like, because I always wanted to learn more with people and to, you know, improve on like either our mentality in game or in-game stuff, or even like outside the game stuff that sometimes some people will more likely to share, some people will less likely to share, you know,
how hard in Europe
right?
is it to get 5 players with that elite mindset? Because that seems to be what you had on 2019 G2.
So
5
fucking hard.
players. Because
But that's also the issue of modern roster building, right? Like
well, that's
feel like,
when I talk to Upset, it's a thing where it feels like, well, he's not saying it directly, and I'm not trying to get him in trouble. But if you read between the lines of some of what he's saying, sometimes is the biggest struggle he has. If you believe him, you can also do the opposite and think that he's, you know, the reason why they fall short. But if you believe what he says, it's that consistently there's 1 or 2 people on every roster he's been on that like just doesn't have that full drive the way that he does, and it prevents you.
I think it's just because before, like, there's been a lot more players who want to play together building rosters, you know, even before franchise, and like a bit maybe during franchise. Maybe 2019 G2 was the last year of 5 players really wanted to play together with each other, you know what I mean?
Well, the problem is
And
they're
it's more
never
like
going to let
all
anyone do it
players
again
being
because of
slotted.
Mickey, right? Because of what Mickey's just built. They're never going to let any
But
players
to be
build a
honest,
roster.
but to be honest, I do think that this team will outperform half of LEC teams. Like, I really do think that just because of their will to play together and because of like Mickey's initiative, I do think this team will surprise a lot of things. Like I personally think that they could be a dark horse, you know. Like, I'm not saying they're gonna win LEC. I don't think they will, but I think they will perform better than people give them 12th place, you know. Like, I think they will be, you know, top of the box, like top 6. I think they will be.
Sure.
I think people will be surprised, you know, maybe with that.
In wrapping and concluding, Perkz, it's been so interesting talking to you about how much of your life is cyclical, the lessons you've learned, how faith has brought you closer to yourself and brought you closer to faith. It's so interesting to speak about your career. I wondered if you had any like closing remarks you wanted to talk about, any moments you wanted to share with us, anything in particular. It's been a really pleasant 3.5 hours speaking with you.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like I didn't do an interview in a long time. So actually, even though I'm like, my throat hurts, I'm grateful to be able to discuss many things, because often when you put things in words,
it's like therapy, weirdly, in a way, right? Like,
it is. I mean, that's what therapy is about. And ironically, like, therapy is like somebody trying to get you to say things that you know out loud, because that affirms them, you know. So that's like, I mean, interview is like kind of like a therapy, right? So I got to reflect on my career, which has been, I mean, amazing. Like, there is like not it's like, I don't know, it's just been so amazing, right? Like it's great, you know. Like, I couldn't have wished for a better career, right? So while ending was regretful, and I wished I could have changed it. You know, maybe there is still time in the future. Who knows? Yeah,
Come back
that's
to
kind of
Ruddy
it.
and get a redemption arc, mate.
Yeah, I'm so happy for all the moments that you guys, you know, got from me performing, like from all the times that I get people on the streets often like telling me, oh, this is my best series. Oh, the series against RNG, I stayed up until 4 a.m. or whatever, and like I don't know whatnot. Like I get very happy when I get to find out that someone's day has been made because they got a picture with me or spoke to me, and it just feels great to see that a small kid from outside of Zagreb managed to accomplish something that made also other people's days better, right? And this is just what it's all about in the end. And on top of that, I mean, I'm obviously super grateful for the career I got, because it allowed me to live a wonderful life where I'm free. Like I'm, how do you say, I feel like I'm free, like I feel like I'm able to take all the experience I learned in esports, and this is so much, and take it to better myself, and
In terms of the future, is there any idea of could we see you in a head coach role? Could we see you as a GM? You seem like you've got ideas. You seem like we need someone like you, maybe.
I mean, I do love esports, and I was actually considering, like, I was even considering potentially playing again. But then, I found out, my mother was diagnosed with cancer, but it's okay because everything went fine, and they removed it, and I just stopped playing League again. So, like sometimes things just happen out of control. But to be honest, if I come back to esports, like it could be this year, it could not be. I can't say for sure. I'm currently very happy with the way I live and the way I function, and I am learning a lot about business in general. So I'm working with Friendly Fire and pitching some of the Friendly Fire idea to some of the esports clubs as well. So it'll be very exciting to see what I can do with that as well in the next few months. Like I have a very, very big vision for esports teams to stay profitable in the next couple of years, because as you
I
all
love to hear
know,
this
like
from you, man. This is good to hear.
all of you might not know things, but like esports teams are doing layoffs year after year, not even year after year, like fucking months after months. Like I even heard like G2 just got laid off for not another wave of layoffs, right? So the teams are struggling. Teams are struggling to stay profitable, to do what esports fans love the most, and esports fans don't even realize that, right? So like I'm a bit worried and skeptical about general monetization of esports and how it can, function long term. Also, the things you hear about, China, etc. Like this is we are living in very difficult times for future of esports. I would say that, and many of you are not aware of that. So
I wanted
we'll
to
see.
I wanted to just say to you, because you shared kind of how much it means to you to hear random people on the street say that they watched a certain series. And I just wanted to share. I mean, I'm sure it's something I've told you at some point, but like that's also me. Like me, as much as we're sitting down like as friends and having this conversation, like I looked up to you when I was watching you back then. That series against RG, I would have been 17 years old in sixth form doing my exams. I remember I probably stayed up all night, depending on what the time zone was, and watched that. And when we signed you, even though it was a bit of a joke team, the idea that you played for a team, and like I had I don't know if I've ever told you this. I had like 10 people I used to play league with in school who like hadn't followed any of my career but heard that happened, to be like, you signed Perkz, like you've made it in life, like that's amazing, like and that was, for me, was like such a thing of like wow, like that gave my life so much meaning, even if it was like a really shitty meme team and it didn't go well for a litany of reasons that we don't even need to talk about. I wanted to say that you're someone that I idolized, and I'm very happy to be friendly with you and on good terms with you, because you are a complete idol of mine in the esports scene. And I'm very happy to hear that you're going to be doing more things from even a business side, because I think we need people like you around shaping that conversation going forwards. So that's why I wanted to say.
We need visionaries. I agree. Thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot.
No worries. Do you have any words for me at the end of the interview? Just to make it less awkward that I've been so nice to you just then.
My God, man, my head is my head is cooked, bro. I have a burger waiting for me, and I'll have to leave soon. No, I am joking, bro. I appreciate what you are doing as well,
Thank you.
because it's like I can see the passion, you know. I can see that you're struggling and you're trying to figure out your own shit,
Yeah.
and I think it's great that we have someone like you in the scene who, you know, really gives his best in his area. So
That means
we
a
need
lot.
that.
That means a lot coming from you, man. Thank you. I won't keep you any longer. Go and enjoy your burger and the rest of your evening, man. Have a great one, man.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Bye
you, bro.
bye. Bye everyone.